Hello, everybody. There we go. Okay, OBS was being a bit of a butt. So, yeah, don't worry about that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this. It's the What If Roundtable. Have you listened to Up on the Lookout? Have you? Yes. Check out the podcast. You can search for it on all the different places. No, it was just because on my digital audio interface, basically OBS decided to go like, no, I'm going to pretend that this is default settings. So, yeah. So, that's what we were doing there. But anyway, welcome to the What If Roundtable, everybody. I hope everyone's doing really alright. And we are not joined by Haverock or Sophie B this week, because they were both unavailable because they were both needing a little bit of a break. But I do have an extra special guest with me, and you might recognize him because his name is in the title of the stream. So I would like to welcome Totally Not Mark.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, that's all right, man. Absolutely. No problem. It's a real pleasure to have you here. Just, yeah, let me just run you through the ground rules here. So basically, for those of you who might be listening to us, who might be Mark's peoples coming over here, the What If Roundtable helps support the channel with super chats, and in return, we provide you with ridiculous answers to equally ridiculous but also inspiring what ifs. And these what ifs, we do pay attention, and our moderators do check the chat, and these ideas do eventually end up in the videos in some shape or form. So basically, we try and go as crazy as possible within reason. There might be things that we don't know, like for example, if it's Elder Scrolls, we do get a lot of Elder Scrolls What If Dragon Ball integrations here. I really do not know much about Elder Scrolls, so you know, you might be a little bit disappointed, but don't worry, we're going to do the best that we can. So are you ready, Mark?
I am definitely ready. Let's kick it off, dude.
All right, cool. So we're going to start off strong here, and we are going to go with Papa Podo going, what if when Cole taught Frieza the supernova, he was actually pulling an elaborate prank, telling him it destroys planets when it actually does something else? Frieza never using it to planet Vegeta? Imagine Frieza's reaction when he throws the supernova and instead of destroying the planet, it turns into a planet-sized bacon-filled muffin. Oh, okay. Oh, so basically, well, first of all, yeah,
I love that this is like my introductory question to the show. It just
welcome.
It really just kind of sets the tone.
Oh, welcome to the What Ifs, Mark. Welcome to the world of what ifry on this channel. You are
okay. So if I want to be like a real stickler about this, right?
Yeah.
I would, if I was to be a real stickler about this, my first question would be, after reading that happen, I would be like, okay, so why would Frieza want to learn a move that from his father that he has never seen before? And would he not have any questions about it?
Well, well, it's most likely down to the fact that Cole, he would trust his father completely. It would just be like,
sorry. So like this is like the premise is that like Cole tricked his son.
Yeah, no, basically he thought, oh no, my son, the supernova thing will help you on a pitch if you wish to destroy planets. Oh, my excellent father, this is absolutely splendid. Goes and does it. Turns out, what? This isn't what's supposed to happen. And it's oh yes, I forgot to mention it makes planet-sized bacon-filled muffins. Ta-da! It's like,
you know
why?
what? I could actually, in some weird way, I could actually kind of buy it, just because, I mean, Frieza has to be the way that he is for a reason, so his father has to be a bad person, and also, you know, the way Frieza killed his father. So, I mean, I mean, it wouldn't be unjustified for his father to kind of like do something like that to him.
Not to mention about the fact that, you know, King Cole wouldn't want him to be too good because King Cole's the superior being, of course. He wants to be the superior example in the universe. He doesn't want his son being better than him.
He's definitely taller than him, so yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's just the start. So next up we have Manifesto. We have, hey Mark and Masako, I hope you two are doing well. Are you doing well, Mark?
I'm tired, but I am good.
Oh, well, that's good to know, because he actually has a question for you. A question for Mark is, what is Mark's what ifs? Any of Masako's or anything in particular? Like, a favorite what if or anything like that?
Oh, the thing is about what ifs, right, is that I actually I was very surprised you asked me on today. I was really flattered, first of all, but like, I've only ever done a what if once in the history of my channel, and for some reason, without fail, whenever I upload a video, it might not even be about Dragon Ball, but people will always say, when's the Impossible series coming back? Because I had fully intended on making an entire what if series based around impossible scenarios. And the one what if that I did make was like really, really dark.
Oh,
and I didn't really know how to kind of make anything better after that. But if I had to pick a favorite one, I actually really liked. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone knows this, but I worked on R&R, so I actually really liked the Raditz What If series.
oh, yeah. No, you were really good for that. You were on it for like episode 2, like especially with
1 and 2,
Kame
yeah.
House. Yeah, the scene with wait, kid, you're nothing like your father, that
Oh yeah,
that scene was really really good. You
yeah.
definitely pulled off there.
I think my favorite part of working in R&R though was probably when I was doing the storyboard for episode 1, doing the fight scenes. That was really
Yes,
fun.
yes, absolutely, and you'll be pleased to know that Shia, who's been like doing the boards for episode 6, has done really really good with
Oh, sick!
with the boards.
I can't wait to see
Definitely.
it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. Next up, and I was telling Mark about this, and as an example, Molly Shadows asks, "What if Krillin was a girl and married Goku?"
I mean, Krillin already spends so much time. Krillin spends more time with Goku on screen than Chi Chi does. So, would there be a difference, or would we just see less of Krillin?
I don't know really, but I mean basically it'd almost be like the example of almost the exact opposite of what if Goku was female, because in them Krillin and Goku get together and they have Gohan.
Yeah,
So
I can't imagine that there'd be any kind of significant difference unless. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Like, had there been any kind of like gender specific role that has dictated what way Krillin goes in the series? I don't think there has been.
not really. I mean,
No.
to be honest, the way I see it, the most of the time the stereotypes don't really apply, except when Toriyama runs out of ideas. Then he kind of just
Yeah,
relegates them to being the housewife.
the
As long
best
as
friend.
as long as he has ideas for them, yeah, they're fine. They're he's all over it. But
Yeah, I mean, if it could be interesting. I have nothing against the idea. It's just, what happens? Does Chi Chi become like Cho Cho, and he and Cho Cho becomes Goku's best friend, while Krilla becomes the wife or something, and they just
yeah,
switch roles.
yeah, no, I guess not really much would change in that sense, but it's good to know. It's good pause for thought. All right, Manifesto is next up again. What if Raditz had used Great Ape form thanks to the Power Ball from Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in the Tournament of Power and added Super Saiyan Mastered Blue to it? Then fights Anilaza one-on-one. Epic? Is the form plausible? There's also fan art of it. I could feel this one. Basically, the way I see it, that kind of Super Saiyan Blue does not really work for an Ozaru, and here's why. Basically, Ozaru is basically past the point of no return for rational thought with a Saiyan. So any attempt to try and use Super Saiyan or anything kind of like really measured or requires a calm mind, which what Super Saiyan Blue does, is really implausible. As in, like, I have seen the fan art of it and it looks spectacular, and I would love to see him fight Anilaza, but unfortunately it wouldn't really work. And I mean, granted, on the technicality, the Power Ball would work because it's not a prop. It's something used as a technique. It's technically legal. And to be honest, Zeno would just allow it anyway because, it would look cool. So, I'm afraid, Manifesto, there's your answer. Alright, Red Dragon Force next. Extended scene from last time. King Kai. Goku, you will not teach him the Kaioken! Sorry, King Kai, it's Yajirobe. He's stronger than me. This is in context to what if Yajirobe trained like Goku.
Oh, okay.
As in, like, what if Yajirobe took training seriously? He would be ridiculously strong. Like, his potential is really, really big, and if he actually applied himself, then, there's the what if video for that, certainly. Yeah.
Well, he's a human character, so I mean, he technically, if we are to assume that every human has equal potential, which really shouldn't be true, but if we were to assume that every human had equal potential, then yeah, technically he should be able to be at least as strong as Ten Shinhan or Krillin or something.
Yeah, no, certainly. Alright, Red Dragon Force on behalf of Ismay Games. What if 17 and 18 became hybrid Saiyans from Jiro's experiments on them? I could see 18 develop a greater interest in Krillin as a result. Okay, so basically, maybe for example, it's like saying if Jiro discovered the Saiyan DNA and was able to splice it based on his experiments with Cell. I mean, I suppose really it would probably be integrated into the engine, or the Infinity engine, as in like self-improvement and self-healing. Basically a derivation on a mechanical version of a Zenkai. But in terms of like the characteristics and instincts, maybe 18's desire for a strong male character would probably be enhanced as well. I mean, she already liked him for, him being quite, plucky and stuff like that, as well as being genuinely thoughtful. So I think couple that with a little bit of desire for, I'm a strong man and I can lift. Do you even lift, babe? Because I do. So just having that idea maybe would make it a little bit more intense, but to be honest, based on the DBZA canon, I don't think it could get any more intense. Like, she is rocking his 4-foot world, seriously. Like, dang. But yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Alright, Manifesto again. What if Goku went to South Kai's planet to train for the Saiyans instead, somehow after traveling down Snake Way? What techniques would he learn from him? Well, I imagine that, he probably wouldn't learn the Kaioken. It depends on whether that's a thing that King Kai has exclusively. It all depends, really. But
did they ever actually explain why there's a road from the check-in station to King Kai's? Or is it like at every check-in station, at every kind of corner of the universe, there's a snake way that brings you to like the corresponding Kai's house, or is it just King Kai's?
I think it's just every boss has a boss, really. So basically, it would be just like, I suppose it would have something to do with just King Kai is just there. Either that, or it could just be pure ego, because King Kai has pure ego. But I imagine it's got some kind of Eastern culture connotation.
Yeah, it must have something. It's a fun idea. Snake Way and all that kind of stuff was always like my favorite part of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I would say in terms of South Kai's strength, yes, he is stronger, but it depends on if he would learn the Kaioken and if he knew it. If he didn't, then that might be a bit of a problem. But either way, in terms of base strength, South Kai would be stronger. Whether he would need to actually tell a joke or not to pass the test, I don't imagine so. South Kai seems a bit more easygoing. Yeah, he seems like the chillest out of the four.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Cameron Heaton, what if Bardock's crew managed to escape? Well, we've talked about this a few times back in the past, but in short, if they did, they would definitely try and get any sort of clues about where Kakarot may have gone. As in, find some way to be able to contact him and, get them back. So, if they did, they would easily just take Kakarot away. And
why wouldn't they just rendezvous with the rest of the Saiyans that were already at, Nappa and Raditz and Vegeta and stuff?
I imagine that would probably be considered. They would try, at first, they would try and get in touch with, Saiyans that had survived. But at the same time, I imagine, Totapo, or Toma, would probably be, a bit, ultra loyal to Bardock. And, might have been aware of the fact that, he sent his boy away. So it'd be almost do we try and go and find Kakarot? Go off grid and try and do that and regroup?
I'm just trying to think, what does a decision like that do to Bardock's character? I mean, I think a lot of the reason why everyone really likes Bardock and resonates with this character is specifically because he stayed behind and faced an impossible tyrant, knowing full well that he was going to die.
I think it was more along the lines of Bardock's crew. So his posse, if they were able to escape Planet Meat, with that Dodoya's trap. So if they were able to do that, and by the time they got back, that Planet Vegeta had been destroyed. It all depends on that, really. Then who sends Kakarot away? Gine? Probably. I mean,
and then she would need to be in contact then with Bardock.
Yeah. So in a way, it kind of really depends, on what happens. But either way, yeah, it is something to consider. There are a lot of variables with that one. All right.
Definitely.
Red Dragon Force 2. Augusta Abrams, on behalf of this, says his sister's birthday is on Saturday. Oh, that's awesome. Well, Augustus, do be sure to wish your sister a very happy birthday from us. So, yeah. By the way, Yash, in terms of the stream boss, this is a little thing to kind of help build up some competition and stuff. So basically, with all the donations and subscriptions and stuff like that, it's being brought down. So whoever is the stream boss is on there. So that's how it goes. It's just a little bit of gamification, as it were. All right. Papa Podo is back. Going off from the ferret Saiyans what if from last week, I had the idea of Saiyans having the urge to pull the kinds of hijinks pet ferrets are known to get up to. Okay, Mark, I'll give you some context. Basically,
I need context. I'm begging for context right now.
Don't worry, I will give you context.
Absolutely bizarre.
Apodo is enjoying the fact that he is completely weirding out Mark right now. But in short, it was like a what if based on the idea of ferrets. Saiyans would turn into giant ferrets instead of Uzaru. So instead of great apes, you'd have great ferrets.
Okay.
So yeah,
it's exactly what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, but basically, I could imagine by them being able to honest, Toriyama would probably enjoy that like tremendously, to be able to like just have that those kind of antics, and just really enjoy that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's definitely silly. It's definitely silly enough.
To be honest, Podo, I will tell Haverock and Sophie that this has been continued, and hopefully we'll someday get some fan art of like a giant Uzaru or a giant ferret in a Saiyan armor. That just needs to be a thing. Yeah.
I'm just imagining the Pokemon ferret just wearing Saiyan armor now.
Oh man, yeah, I could see that in a way. I could see that. Gosh.
I could very easily see that right now, and I wish I didn't see that.
Next up is Cameron again. What if only Jiro got one of the twins, 17 or 18? Well, I suppose really they might. It depends which one. If it was like 17, because he seems to be the more gullible one, more impulsive. If it was 17, then I imagine probably he might be just as rebellious, or maybe even more so, because he's there. He hasn't got that voice of reason in 18, his sister. So without her, then I can imagine things being a bit more problematic, and Jiro probably having to like, shut him down a bit sooner than before. But either way, I can imagine that getting a little bit troublesome. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. I mean, technically speaking, like, whose idea was it to open 16?
It was 18's, because 18 was just like, hey, 16, what's this part here? And then Jiro's going like, don't touch that. It's for a prototype. But basically, it's our belief now that we know more about 16 and about Jiro's son, is that he probably did not want him to get involved in like conflict and stuff like that, and because he was incomplete and all that kind of stuff.
I'm just kind of approach it just from like the kind of angle of like, because like the android sort of came as a set, which means that technically speaking, if I wanted to like divvy up the roles, 50% of their decisions would now not be made, and I'm like, how much more boring would the story be without 18?
Because basically,
because like you wouldn't have 16, as you already pointed out.
Yeah. So
and like
17 would just be traveling around in that van. Yeah.
He'd just be driving around the van. It'd basically just be doing Trunks' future again.
He'd be basically turning into Cuckoo, like that from that sitcom. Basically, just traveling the world, becoming hippie. So probably like that.
Yeah, or what's that? Or what's that show that's like a bunch of girls traveling to like Antarctica?
Oh.
Forget that. Journey to the Edge of the World or something, or Journey to the
Long Way Down or something like that.
Oh, I don't know. It's a really good show. I completely forgot about it, but yeah, he'd just be doing that.
Oh, yeah,
just finding penguins.
Yeah. JK's next. What if King Furry found Goku? Well, if King Furry found Goku, in short, probably would either like put him in a good home or something like that, or he might take care of the kid. It really kind of depends on whether he would be up for it, or depending whether he's actually king. It really depends. But I can imagine King Furry either doing that for the optics, or maybe because he's a nice person. Hard to say. We don't really know much about his character. But
I think he'd be much more accepting of Goku's tail and Uzaru form.
Probably much. I mean, he would be a bit more tolerant because a beast man and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
all right.
Exactly.
Manifesto says hello to you. Hello, totally not Mark. I hope you're well. What if Perfect Cell was brought back for the Tournament of Power instead of Frieza? Do you think he would have done better?
No.
Oh, really? Do give us your thoughts.
No. Cell is not, in my opinion, Cell is not nearly as interesting as Frieza is, and Cell is as interesting as he was because of Gohan.
Well, okay. To be honest, that's fair enough. I mean, I personally would love to see Cell in there, but I do understand your way of thinking. He is not as interesting.
Well, like, I wasn't excited to see Frieza come back like many people were.
No.
I wasn't excited to see Frieza come back because I didn't really think of any story that needed to be told, but they conceived a story that was worth telling, and it made sense for Frieza's character.
Yeah.
But like Frieza was already his own entity before anything. Frieza was who he was because of the fact that he was Frieza, whereas Cell was kind of created by someone for a specific purpose, and he was kind of made with a specific arc in mind. That's not to say that I don't think that they could come up with something for him, but
Yeah.
with Frieza already coming back and all that kind of stuff, I'm not sure would I even like to see villains, not necessarily even Cell, but just any villain come back. I'd like to see new stuff like what they're doing with Moro more. But if you were to ask me would I want to swap Frieza out for Cell, I would say no. For me, Frieza's a much more interesting character.
Okay, I think that pretty much says it all, really. All right, Papa Podo, for example, with Bulma. Let me just see what the context was. Podo, so going off the ferret. Oh, for basically, for example, with the ferret thing, Bulma going, where the heck are all my socks? Before running around the house and finding Vegeta rolling around in a pile of them, staring her in the eyes and saying, "They're mine now." Okay.
I don't understand what's happening.
Sorry, that's a new one.
I've got like the Frieza from DBZ going, I'm sorry, that's a new one. That is one of my sounds and stuff. But basically, it's in context to the ferret one.
Okay,
it's like a
fair
bit
enough.
of dialogue. So
people like ferrets on this channel. I get it.
Yeah, no. I mean, ferrets are kind of cute.
No, ferrets are. I actually wanted a ferret when I was a kid, but my mom said no because she called them rat hunters or something. I don't know.
Oh, well, you can have a ferret now. You're a totally grown man.
Did you really have to add in the totally? I mean, come on, man.
No pun intended there.
Oh yeah, I hope not.
Okay, next one is Cameron. What if Chi-Chi had Goku had septuplets and three of them were girls? Well, okay. This one we've had quite a few times. So in short, basically, it's essentially just the whole thing about 7 Dragon Balls. Ha 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 ha. I can imagine that being used in GT, like having like all the dragons are attached to Goku and Chi-Chi's children in some way, like with the connection with the 4-star ball. So I can imagine that being the connection. So if that happened, you would definitely have that association. And by the way, Nerd King, thank you so much for... Oh, sorry, go on.
If I'm the way that I'm thinking about it is like Dragon Ball Z could only make one of the 2 like son children interesting or give them spotlight. I can only imagine what the 7th son child would be. He'd probably be shown in one panel and just never to be seen again.
Yeah, pretty much. It would be definitely that kind of awkward feeling about that. Alright.
Yeah.
Next up, Nerd King says, "Hi, hope you're well. Like the guest stars, I rewatched some of your Vegeta Christmas vids. Made me want to ask, what if Yamcha got the wonderful life treatment? Guy has some insecurities." But yeah, we'll keep this short. But basically, if Yamcha was in It's a Wonderful Life, he would certainly be very well. He'd be very. I'd be very interested to see Yamcha being directed by Frank Capra, pretty much. So.
I've actually never seen It's a Wonderful Life. I feel like I should.
I need to catch up on that. I saw it like years ago. I really need to go back and revisit it. Certainly.
I can't actually have an opinion on this one, unfortunately, because I don't have the required viewing done.
Yeah, neither do I really. I need to go back and remind myself. But Nerd King, thank you so much for your contribution, and we'll be sure to go and watch It's a Wonderful Life. I'm pretty sure it's on a streaming service. So, but thank you very much anyway. All right.
Bet it's wonderful.
Manifesto's next. What if Paragus actually lived to see Broly turn Super Saiyan after Broly still believing he was not alive? Would Paragus still be afraid or be proud? I suppose basically if Paragus was survived long enough to be able to like be around to see him going Super Saiyan, he'd probably be at that past point by realizing that Frieza had betrayed him. Like he probably wouldn't care anymore. And like maybe he would just say, "Oh, it's the legendary Super Saiyan. He will avenge me," and stuff like that in that last moment. Because he's probably because he's been saying throughout most of the movie, he's lost control. He's not Broly anymore, and basically now he's going, "Oh, to heck with it."
I'm trying to think because like I'm just trying to think of what I know about Paragus as a character. Because I was like the first question I asked myself was, is Paragus a prideful person? And yeah, he's shown pride in the movie, when he discovers Broly for the first time as a kid, he was worried that he was going to die, and that he might have lost himself or whatever, but he finds that he did, he killed one of the spider things, and he was really proud of him for doing that.
Yeah.
So I would imagine on a macro scale, he would be scared, but he would feel proud, sort of.
Yeah, something along those lines, I would say. Oh, okay. White Oak. What if Ridley from Metroid replaced Frost? Well, to be honest, that would have been really interesting from Universe 6, having like someone who resembled Ridley, and it would certainly get Nintendo very, very interested to know the location of Toei Studios. But if Ridley were in there, honestly, to be honest, having a giant pterodactyl beast in there would be really, really cool to like just see how Goku and like all those people would react. But
is that like a kind of an Anilaza type creature? I'm actually not familiar with it.
sort of like yeah, Ridley. That's the main nemesis from Metroid. As in, it's essentially just a giant pterodactyl.
Okay.
But more than that, obviously. But
I wouldn't want to swap out Frost because Frost did a lot of cool things in the Tournament of Power. I think I'd probably swap out someone like, I don't know. What's that? What was that weird pig doctor? I forget what it was. Like Doctor something.
Rota.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, because that would have set up really early. Like, what does Dr. Rota do? As in, like, what is his purpose?
Oh wait, no, you can't ever show his purpose. You can't actually ever show his power. I think it's funnier that way.
No, but it would have set up the mystery even earlier. And then you get to the Tournament of Power thing. Finally, we're seeing him again. What's his thing going to be? You still never find out. And it's just like,
yeah, it
would have made it even more of a thing. Absolutely.
This weird tiny pig creature. I loved it so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
It's just so stupid. I love it.
All right. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Chi-Chi wished to know Goku's location and go after him to Yard Rat, bringing along Gohan and anyone else who wanted to join the trip? Well, I don't think, honestly, Chi-Chi's that bothered, but if she did, I mean, it would be more of that kind of surreal thing, and it would also leave things really confusing for Trunks when he would arrive, and, you know, I think Vegeta would probably tag along to go like, you know what, if you're going to try and find Kakarot, I'll come along as well. It would probably like been some kind of mini arc, like the Goku retrieval arc, pretty much. It's just like, instead of Sasuke, it's Goku. They're off to try and find Goku, and then basically, you know, they start. Not in Toriyama. They would just be searching around loads and loads for like weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months. Then Goku just turns up, go like, "Hey guys, what are you doing out here? Dad, what are you doing here? Well, I just saw you were in the neighborhood, so I thought I'd stop by. Wait, why are you here? We were looking for you, Goku. Well, I'm right here. There you go, found me. Let's go home. I'm starving."
It's so weird hearing Gohan's voice calling Goku Goku. It's
no, that was a bit Chi-Chi and stuff like that. But trying to shift in between them really quickly, they sometimes get blurred. But basically, I can imagine that arc ending in a Toriyama way of it just suddenly ends.
Yeah.
Goku just kind of like, what are you guys doing here? It's just like, we're going like, why? What, you crazy? You crazy?
It's so weird to think of a Dragon Ball story without Goku as like a recurring character chapter by chapter, because like he's like in almost every single chapter of the manga. So I'm just trying to think of like, it's to think of an arc centered around finding Goku would just be so bizarre. I bet you would feel really weird.
It's like the Poochie effect, as in like, where's Goku?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Red Dragon Force 2. Recommendation for future roundtables. Test out all of your sounds prior to the start of the official start time. Well, the thing is, though, they do start up. It's just the trouble is, though, I'm working that they're on a hard drive, on a mechanical disk, because sometimes it takes a while to spool up. They're not on a solid-state drive. I need to work on that eventually. Yeah. JK, what if Goldo was a cute space dog? Can Gohan keep him? Oh, I can imagine that'd be really fun. Like, instead of, like, Goldo being that freaky alien dude, it's just like a giant dog who can stop time. To be honest, you just get like vibes from JoJo and Iggy. Like, to be honest, it came around the same time. You just make a parody of Iggy. So that
I don't know. If I had an evil dog that like could stop time, I mean, like the only reason, I mean, like it would need to be sentient. It would need to be able to talk. So like if I had a dog that could stop time and just do whatever he wants, I would actually be the most anxious person on the planet.
Why's that?
Like, why? Because he tried to kill me. Like he tried to kill me on Namek.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. In that sense, but in the sense, if you suddenly get really powerful, you know, they'll know who's boss. That's the thing. I've got a puppy recently, so you have to kind of teach them who's boss, who's in charge of the pack. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's still I don't know. I mean, like, like. I don't know it's like I don't know. I think when you start giving someone a power that like can stop time, I'm just like, Ugh. What will he do? I don't know. It just makes me anxious.
Yeah, but basically it's just like, oof. Okay, fair enough. All right, next up is Red Dragon Force 2. What if Kid Goku found a portal and ended up in the digital world? Yeah, yeah, we've got a lot of these, so we're gonna like try and keep these short. But basically, if Goku ended up in the digital world, he basically like thinking like, who's your Digimon? Are you the Digidestin? And he just like ends up like punching the Digimon really hard, like.
Oh, I could totally see Toriyama writing a joke wherein Goku tries to eat the pink poo.
Oh,
because he'll think it's strawberry ice cream.
Oh,
that would be funny.
Yeah, that's the joke. That's the joke. And then basically with Devimon at the first boss, he's just kind of like punches him in the face. Just like,
yeah.
Devimon just be like, what? You didn't announce your attack. It's like, I just punched you. You're not exactly that strong. And then just like, he get on well with Leomon. Like having that like friendly rivalry between Goku.
I actually
haven't
watched Digimon in a very long time. I started watching the new Digimon series. Have you seen that?
No, I need to actually catch up on that.
Well, like it hasn't been releasing. I don't think it was stopped because of the virus and stuff. But I think 3 episodes or 4 episodes came out, and like it's actually really good. Like I really liked it.
I'm not surprised it's good. I mean, I can imagine it's basically with more of a budget and stuff like that.
There's definitely more of a budget, but like there's more of I think fans of the actual Digimon series know the story that's being told, but like I went back and tried watching the original Digimon series again, and just like recently enough, I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was just like I couldn't get into it for whatever reason. But like this new one I thought was really good.
Yeah, I think it's just like streamlined, but yeah, it also keeps the same aesthetics of the old one. So
well, I mean, like episode 1, 2, and 3 are telling a very different story as far as I can.
As in, it looks like the original one, so people are a bit more receptive. It's just that connection to nostalgia.
Oh, yeah.
So people are more receptive, I would say. But I'm definitely going to catch up with it when I can. White Oak. What if Chrono showed up after Trunks' first time travel attempt? Oh, Cronoa. So basically, if Cronoa came in and slapped Trunks on the wrist, it depends when. If he was still able to allow to get the virus and stuff like that, then I think things would have been okay, except Trunks wouldn't have been able to come back. So it might have got a little bit dodgy with like Semi-Perfect Cell. But if she basically came in and just about he was before to get the heart virus, and then Cronoa came in and it's like, what do you think you're doing? And just like stopped him from getting the virus, you'd have to play the bad end sound.
Is Cronoa the girl from the video games, the heroes and stuff?
Supreme Kai of Time.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So basically, I just played the sound where it's just like the da 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 da, and that is in short, low key sound of it doesn't end well. That's just say in short, it doesn't end well. JK. What if Zeno was more like Gohan, aka nerd? Well, okay, if Zeno was more like Gohan, he'd actually be rational and actually have a brain instead of just being a ball of childish impulsiveness. So actually, you would be able to actually you'd almost have someone like Koinma or something like that from Yu Yu Hakusho. Like
I've actually never seen Yu Yu Hakusho. People keep telling me to go to watch it.
Yeah, no, I need to actually catch up on that, and not just Yu Yu Hakusho abridged, but basically, you need to have someone in short a bit more rational. Dark Snake. All right. Hey Masako, what if Android 21 and Android 16 came from their universe when it wasn't being destroyed and entered into the Dragon Ball Super universe before Battle of the Gods? So basically, it'd be very confusing to see 16 show up, but honestly, in terms of power levels and stuff like that, there's not really that much of a difference between them showing in Battle of Gods and then between the Goku Black Arc and Tournament of Power. But basically, it would throw Beerus for a loop, that's for sure. But I imagine with Beerus there, any distraction from the Super Saiyan God, he would just boop out of existence. Like say, you there! Are you the Super Saiyan God? No. No. We are 2 androids who have come after Son Goku. Oh, well then you're getting in my way. There. Now go away. And stuff like that. Yeah, Beerus would have just essentially just gone like, just like, get out of my way. I do not distract me. I have waited 4 decades of sleep for this. You are not going to stop me. So, pretty much, Beerus would just boot him out of existence. Like, yeah, essentially what we did in DBZA with Piroshki and Koroni, pretty much. So, All right, White Oak, on behalf of a Joker, what if Goku was in Smash? Well, Goku, I've always wanted Goku in Smash, but I know it's not going to happen. But essentially, if he were, they'd have to really buff him down. Probably it would be Kid Goku in that way. So you'd have to either have Kid Goku or beginning of Z Goku to try and balance everything out. You wouldn't have Super Saiyan unless it was some kind of like Final Smash.
They would absolutely put Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan Blue Goku in there just because they sell toys.
Yeah, no, I would say if you wanted to balance Goku, you would have him from like the beginning of Z.
But like even if you wanted to, I mean, like I don't think the people who would like, I mean, assuming if I was to entertain this as like a legitimate idea, I don't think anyone would be approaching this with the point of view of we need to make Goku super strong. It would just be like we will use Goku in whatever facet we can.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, exactly, because like yeah, essentially we want Goku in Smash, but the question is you have to kind of balance that things out when you go. All right, Dark Snake. What if Bulma was knocked up by Vegeta during the Namek saga and was a girl who fell in love with her master Gohan, and Gohan managed to defeat the androids instead of getting opped by them? So basically, if this was like a future Trunks scenario, like in the History of Trunks scenario, but basically, if there was like like Bulla essentially, and then basically had a crush on Gohan, like she had a crush on Mr. Gohan, that would be extremely awkward. And I imagine probably like the aggravation, if it meant that Gohan, I don't know really, but basically, I think Gohan would have still like knocked Bulla and Trunks out to try and like be protective and stuff, but if it meant that maybe Bulla was a bit more like willing to listen to Gohan, she might have convinced Trunks to not get in the way too much, and therefore he might have kept his arm. So maybe just having someone there to like do what he says, maybe. So basically a better wingman than Trunks in a way, less impulsive. Vulcan, what if Gearbo was a cyborg like 17 and 18 making Android 16? Gearbo being basically the Android 16's actual name. But basically what you would have, it was like maybe somewhat more of a connection of a human connection, but we don't really know much about what 16's human side was like before the accident. He might have been really sweet and stuff like that, but again, there's so little information to go off of, so we're really kind of like left for a loop in that sense. But you know, it's something that, you know, I would imagine probably maybe a bit more connected and stuff. He would have the Infinity Engine definitely, and probably might be more likely to be brought back with the Dragon Balls, because you know he is part organic, well, mostly organic, so he would probably be brought back with the Dragon Balls. So maybe to do with like Perfect Cell in some way. All right, Yash BETGERI, thank you so much for your donation, dude, and has a few questions, R&R related. How many episodes does season 1 have? They have 12. Also, how, where, and who do I approach for the Dragon Ball project I'm working on? I would love you guys to read it too. You can check out the subreddit r/MasakoX for that, to pitch it to people. And finally, what if the younger generation was more involved? Well, Dragon Ball R&R is what it is, essentially. And to be honest, if the Potofu arc was written better, and actually used the kids more, and because to be honest, Goku and Vegeta aren't really needed in that arc anyway, because, you know, Monarca wins the arc anyway. So you could have had, like, just eked out Gotenks more and more often, and then Monarca could have gotten the win anyway. Goku and Vegeta were not required because, you know, it turns out the super staff don't really know how to write for anyone who isn't Goku and Vegeta. So, yeah, there's that chestnut. But either way, thank you so much, Yash, for your contribution. Next up is Melon Lord. What if Goku was born with Gohan's Rage Boost? What if every Z fighter was at the reunion at the start of Z? Well, if every fighter from Dragon Ball Z was there at the beginning... Oh, by the way, guys, we're going to have the cutoff in 5 minutes' time, because we got a lot to get through, so we're going to try and get through as many as we can. So you got 5 minutes if you want to put in your super chats. But basically, if Goku had the Rage Boost there, then basically it would just be like Uzaru, but, you know, in humanoid form. But if he did, then that might have some kind of inkling, and it might have helped with stopping Raditz taking Gohan away, and maybe a better understanding of how Gohan ticked and stuff. And if every Z fighter were there, I don't think it would have really made much of a difference, because they were all equally inferior to Raditz. It would have just been potentially maybe someone getting killed. It just really kind of varies up in that. Vulcan, what if Gohan married both Videl and Irasa? Thoughts?
Who's she?
Irasa, the blonde girl. Blonde girl who, you know, is friendly with Gohan in high school.
Oh, her.
Yeah. Basically, the one you think Gohan would like, but, you know, doesn't. Or
nah, Videl's way more interesting than her, I think.
Oh, yeah, no, Irasa's nice. And to be honest, you know, if she can be the one to calm Sharpner down, you know, yeah, those two would work well together. You know, you think you want Irasa for Gohan, but Videl's the better option, definitely. But if they both married, well, you know, polyamory, you know, something that Toriyama hasn't explored yet. But it would certainly be...
Probably never will.
Yeah, it's kind of backwards that way. But either way, if someone wants to go and give it a try, I'm pretty sure there is a fanfic for that already. But
yeah, definitely.
Either way. Smash Brono. What if Goku had a power level of 1,000 instead of Broly, but is still mistaken to only have 2, like in the DBZ Bardock special, but for real? Goku and Broly still end up in their canon destinations. Hope this doesn't get the sound. Well, if Goku, basically, if Goku had a power level of 1,000, it wouldn't necessarily have an ending for it, but basically, it depends on whether Goku could actually control that strength or whether it was really erratic, and how soon he booped his head. Because if he did boop his head relatively soon, because he never actually hit Gohan, like, he was just really tempestuous, and really, as a baby, you wouldn't really be able to be coordinated to be able to use that power effectively. But, essentially, once he was able to, then any single being, up until Raditz, would be nothing in front of him. Like, all those baddies, gone. King Piccolo, donezo. Like, Dragon Ball would have been a lot shorter. Let's just say that.
I had to Google what tempestuous means. I agree.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Anime Guy 01, what if Gohan or Goten trained like Goku? Well, probably way too much. Gohan wouldn't have been able to study. Goten probably would have been a bit more impulsive. But they would have still been stronger. But I don't think Chi-Chi would have been very much happy about that because they're her boys. So it really kind of depends on that stuff. Bartson, what if your what-ifs had to fight in a multiverse tournament? Bartson, Haverock and I are working on something like that. So do stay tuned for that because we will have some more information for you about that. So I'm really excited. I just need to let a few more things go by just to kind of like get things essentially done. But we're planning something. Anime Guy 01, what if Goten was Ook-Cog instead? Oh, so basically Dragon Ball Evolution. Go. Oh, to be honest, he would actually fit in like that in that high school better in Dragon Ball Evolution GT Goten. Like, cause he's a jock, that kind of thing. He's always got a cell phone. He's into girls and stuff like that. So actually, GT Goten, Mark, would actually fit better in Evolution.
I'm trying to think of the differences. I'm trying to think. He's not shy. He's not shy like Goku was in Evolution. He's definitely not shy. I mean, that was one of my favorite things about like GT when I was watching it was watching Goten because I was actually really surprised to actually like him.
I think Haverock and I were really kind of like jarred by the fact that he was just so different from his like counterpart in Z.
But I mean, like, if I want to be completely honest, I'm completely different to when I was a child as well. So I mean, that didn't really bother me, especially considering that Goten didn't really have that much of a character, or
yeah.
didn't have that much of a personality or an identity, I should say.
No, I do see what you mean, man. But in a way, I guess it was just not for me, really. It's just not my cup of tea. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I would just like to say now that the super chats are now closed. Thank you so much for your contributions. We have a lot to get through. I barely made a dent in this. So, basically, guys, if you do want to donate, it's basically out of the kindness of your own heart. If you can, it'd be very much appreciated. But we got a lot of these to get through. So, you can either hold your super chat for next week when our regular hosts are back. Mark, you are doing a very good job, by the way. And I'm pretty sure everyone else in the chat agrees. Or you could like contribute in your own way or just send a super chat out of kind. Depends. It's totally up to you. Okay, next up is Anime Guy again. What if Marcus Damon ended up in the original Dragon Ball? Marcus Damon.
Marcus.
Oh, from Digimon.
Marcus Damon.
Oh, Marcus Damon. Oh, it's from Data Squad. Basically, that's the guy that Quentin Flynn plays. Basically, he's just like, he's basically the Data Squad version of Tai. I need to really pick up against like Data Squad. So basically,
I've legit never even seen it.
But I've seen I've seen some bits of it. But basically, if he did, he'd have that tempestuous nature. But you'd have Greymon in Dragon Ball, you know, giant Greymon and stuff like that. I'd be down for that. I would certainly be down for that.
Greymon looks cool.
Yeah. Nick Wolf, this one's for you, Mark. Inspired by your Boo rewrite, what if Gohan were the Boo Saga villain? Kid Boo acts like Proto Baby, goes from Fat Boo to Gohan, and this continues. Gohan's still the focal point of the story, but what better reason to bring back Goku in a way that addresses Gohan's trauma? Also, Vegeta could force Gohan to train during the 7-year skip, building animosity. Keep Vegeta in the story longer to face his consequences. Vegeta could teach the Goten Trunks fusion as Piccolo goes to Hiffle to fuse with King Piccolo, making him the ultimate Piccolo in this scenario. So basically, he's asking for your thoughts, Mark.
Well, like, I mean, I think one of the things that I would do differently if I was to do that rewrite again, because it was just the first draft. So, like, I was just trying to think, I would actually change a lot about it. But I think if you're going to do a rewrite of a story, I think the most important thing is to understand what the actual stuff in Dragon Ball is aiming at. So, like, if you're doing a Dragon Ball rewrite, one thing that I would change with mine personally is I would have added more of a light-hearted energy and atmosphere to it, because I think that's really important for Dragon Ball, to keep things really simple and to keep it funny.
Okay, so, but do you think his thing is valid?
I mean, anything is possible in stories. So, like, I think if you can find ways to involve other characters like Piccolo and Vegeta, and to think of a compelling way to introduce Gohan into the series and keep him relevant, that's always a worthwhile endeavor. It's also good practice for writing, anyway.
Hey, yeah, exactly. There's always definitely always a good test. So, yeah, Nick, Mark thinks it's pretty decent. All right, Anime Guy 01. What if young Goku met the Scotsman from Samurai Jack? Oh, well, if he certainly did, he would love that guy, because the Scotsman, he's always up for a fight. He's always game. He's very loud. Goku's very loud. They get on like a house on fire. Like, I can imagine them actually really having a good time together. So, honestly, I think they'd actually learn really well from each other, and maybe even a bit of crafting from swords and stuff. Vulcan, what if Vegeta raised Tarball, and what if Okay, he's got quite a few, so we'll rattle through these. What if Vegeta raised Tarball? If actually Vegeta took Tarball seriously, then Tarball might have actually either gained an interest in fighting, or at least an understanding on why Vegeta appreciates it. Basically, better brotherly relationship. What if Goku had a twin sister? Her name is Ika. Mark, do you ever remember that old 90s image of like a Saiyan coming out of a pod, like short black hair? Her name was Ika, Goku's long lost sister.
I legitimately don't. I'm the worst Dragon Ball fan, just to be perfectly honest. I think I'm the only person that has an audience on YouTube that talks about Dragon Ball that wasn't like. I was a huge fan of the series, but it was just the series. I didn't look at the movies. I didn't look at anything like on the fringes of it. So I definitely don't. I definitely don't think I've seen that.
Oh no, to be honest, it was like in the early days of the 2000s. It was just one of those like fan images that kept floating.
Oh, in that case, my family didn't have a computer.
So there you go. That's fair enough. But basically, I remember that all the time. Next part of Ginyu Force and Hercule. Hercule probably will be in the next couple of months. And the Ginyu Force one, we kind of, Haverock and I want to wait until I give a good opportunity to write on that, because that's one of our favorites to write. Gine and Bardock sorts on Gohan, Kuroda, and Videl. Kuroda being like the daughter of Goku and of Krillin and Videl. But basically, I imagine Bardock would be just like, are they strong? Yeah? Okay, that's kind of cool. Nice. And Gine, just happy to have a family, really. Just having that familial contact. So, yeah, I think there'd be no issues. Bardock would have no complaints so long as they're strong, and it meant that his bloodline kept on going. Yeah, so I think that'd pretty much be that. Jeff Caldwell, Masako imagined a Time Lord and a Saiyan hybrid every regeneration would be a new level of Super Saiyan. Oh, like kind of unlocking different powers and stuff. Like, every single generation would unlock a certain different trait of a Saiyan. It would actually keep things quite dynamic. So instead, each Super Saiyan wasn't necessarily just a buff in power, but added some kind of facet to their skill set. So that'd kind of be kind of neat. Just something keep you guessing. So that means every time a Saiyan was about to regenerate, you go, oh cool, what are they going to know now? So it's not just them getting stronger. Like, it's maybe getting them slightly stronger, but you're more interested in what their gimmick is going to be. So that could work. Vulcan, what if Mira and Toa saved future Gohan? Thoughts? Okay, the maskless Saiyan would be future Gohan. To be honest, can you imagine? That would have been even better in Xenoverse 2. Like, there is another masked Saiyan. Oh my goodness, it's future Gohan. Oh, that is such a twist. And Jack Doubt, don't worry. I have seen your super chats. We will be getting to them. We just have a lot to get through. So, for those of you out there, thank you for your patience. I do see, Jack, I did see you on the list. So, we do appreciate your contributions, and I do see him on the list. Alright, Anime Guy 01. What if Shin was offed by Dabura instead of Kibito, and Beerus came to Earth after the Dragon Balls brought him back? Well, basically, if Shin was offed by Dabura, it'd be kind of similar to what happened in the Future Trunks arc. But it would certainly leave things a bit more perilous, but in a way, you know, it would not really add too much difference because Shin and Kibito still know Kai Kai. So they would still be able to do various different stuff, and Kibito would certainly know what Shin's directives and motives were. They were very much in sync in that sense. And if Beerus woke up slightly earlier, then there's no Super Saiyan God at the time, so plain sound. So pretty much that. The Somewhere Man. What if Tarbal was the legendary Super Saiyan? How would it affect Vegeta, the king, his son, and the planet? Yes.
It'd probably be better for Vegeta.
Probably would be better, yeah. So basically,
I mean, like, it's better than Goku becoming a Super Saiyan the first time was probably like the worst case scenario for him.
Yeah. So at least if you go, well, at least I know my family can do it, therefore I know I can do it. So it would be less humiliating for him in that sense. So yeah. Craig Twitchell. What if future Jiro survived but was unable to stop the androids from destroying humanity? So he went to the past instead of Trunks, out of sheer desperation after scavenging the remains of Capsule Corp. So basically, if he went back into the past, Bulma would not trust him at all, because she would know about Jiro. She did know about Jiro. But basically, it would depend whether, in terms of how multiverse theory would work, you would basically have like Trunks and Jiro, and them having to try convince the Dragon Team about who was to be trusted. So you'd almost have that kind of stalemate, because this might be the time before Jiro turns himself into an android, so he doesn't necessarily have the strength. So it's all about like who can actually talk the game better. So that could be a good way to end an episode. Just try and like say, who will the Dragon Team trust in this very interesting turn of events? So having that bit of peril, that could be cool.
Sure
APC 218. What if Vegeta lost his memory fighting Goku in the Saiyan Saga? Oh, so a case of Vegeta having amnesia. Okay. Well, I imagine probably it would be that interesting sense about like maybe if he gets back to Frieza Planet 79 and he heals up and then he has no idea about what's going on. The only thing he knows is about Dragon Balls. So he goes.
Well, I mean, if he has amnesia, how does he get back there?
Well, no. Basically, if he programs it enough to be able to get out of there, like, and then he just collapses. Like.
Okay.
So something like a delayed reaction or something like that. He basically he arrives back on Frieza Planet 79 not knowing who he is. Like.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that might take a lot of the sting out of Vegeta's story. I think the whole point of his character is that he knows that these things are happening and he can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose if you want to take, you have to tell a completely different story, which could be interesting. I just don't know what you would tell.
Yeah. I suppose really it's just kind of like, I suppose really it would not be the same for Vegeta's character. So
no, it would have to be a completely different character.
Yeah, totally. And whether that character would be better than the Vegeta that we got remains to be seen. Gobi, what if Vegeta and Tarbal swapped places in terms of power level, not age? Well, basically, if Tarbal was like the one, like Vegeta was the one who had the power, but still had the desire and desire to train and stuff like that, but he wouldn't be as strong. But Tarbal is this one who has this prodigious power and potential, but does not have the interest to fight. So that would be a very interesting thing. Like, you know, Vegeta talks about his brother and stuff like that. He'd probably be a bit more admiring. Just like, oh, his younger brother who has more potential in that kind of sense. So, yeah, oh, it's my family, the bloodline and stuff like that. But if they ever
It'd
did
turn
meet
into a comedy thing. I could totally see it turning into like a comedy situation. I don't think it could be taken seriously.
no, it couldn't be, because they meet Tarbell. It's like, oh, he's really, really strong, but he doesn't show it. He's like, I don't like fighting. It's like, what? Yeah, this guy who's really strong. No, I don't like it. Just kind of like this bit of subversion in that sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Craig Twitchell, what if Dr. Giro out-Giro'd himself? So basically, if he anticipated something so much to the point he actually foiled his own plans. I could totally see that. Like, he thinks of all these different anticipations for everything that's going to happen, and he basically just ends up outsmarting himself. So, out of this, you learn the moral of the story is like, basically, you know, in Hitchhikers, nobody likes a smartass. So, pretty much, that's the last person you can trust is a smartass. Yeah, so I could see that. PADPARADSCHA, what if Chi-Chi married Mark after Goku's sacrifice?
Then all of a sudden, the Dragon Ball world would take a vicious turn to something a lot more dark and realistic.
Well, so basically things would become a bit more pragmatic and stuff.
I mean, I don't think I'm nearly as interesting as Goku, so it would definitely make for a much more boring story.
But at the same time, though, does Chi-Chi want exciting in that way? I think she just wants a normal life.
I know that Chi-Chi was designed to create excitement in the Dragon Ball series, so I don't know. I mean, like it's like I don't know if I should take this seriously or not. Like, I mean,
a little bit of both in a way, I would say.
I mean, okay, so if I want to take it as literally as possible, the purpose of a character is to facilitate something within a story. I wouldn't be able to facilitate anything within that story. I would be an anchor that would weigh it down incredibly.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that's an important qualifier to say in a way, because otherwise it'd be just like, oh no, we're turning ourselves into Gary Stews and stuff like that. Oh, okay, Tempest is asking to play the Bardock sound. The Bardock sound, Mark, is basically that bit from Big Green is when Bardock's being torn apart. Like, you know, he's getting death ball. He's being killed by Frieza. And in the Big Green dub, instead of like a scream, it's just like he goes.
I've actually still never seen that.
You just like search Big Green compilation, you get what I mean.
No, people have told me to go look for it and stuff, but like I think ever since I started a YouTube channel, I've been like intentionally keeping myself pure, just so that if I ever do want to review it at some point, I'll just I'll
honest
be able
reaction.
to. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, but that's fair. Okay, what is our next one? Red Dragon Force 2. What if Bulma wished for Goku and Vegeta's tails to grow back before the Tournament of Power? Super Saiyan 4 or a new transformation for both of them to use against other universes? Maybe Bulma would think, oh, if they had the potential of what they had already with the tails, could they get Super Saiyan 4? If she had the idea for the Bloodswave cannon in the works and stuff like that. So maybe, but in terms of like Super Saiyan 4, it's hard to say. Maybe in terms of some way for fan service, but maybe it's like something as like to experiment in that way. But,
I don't know. I really hated the Bloodswave cannon. I think it's the most. I personally think it's like totally missing the point of a transformation.
It basically is just like Bulma cheating. But basically, she at least is helping and getting involved in her husband's.
I mentioned that in the review. Like, it's cool that she's getting involved and stuff. Like, but like the whole point of a transformation isn't just to like get stronger and look cool. It's to like improve.
Yes. No. I do agree with that. It was a bit of something that came out of left field, I would definitely say. Okay, Craig Twitchell. What if in the What If Bulma trained like Goku, Bulma had to fight a dimension-traveling Iron Man? She is the Iron Man of Dragon Ball. Well, I can imagine those two eventually, because they are genius, billionaire, playboy philanthropists in that way. So I imagine they probably have the kind of like a bit of like a boxing match in terms of like competitions about like wit. But eventually, I think they would come to terms and stuff like that, knowing that they can't outwit each other with money. So it come down to the wire in terms of like that. But I think, Tony Stark would invite Bulma out for a drink, and she would pick the bar. So just like make things completely equal and stuff like that. But I can imagine those two actually like having like a good relationship and that, friendship. That could be cool. Craig Twitchell, what if future Bulma went to the past instead of Trunks? Well, if she did, people would instantly recognize her as a future Bulma from the future because, you know, she looks like Bulma. So I imagine there'd probably be like some kind of joke about, like, oh my god, I look so ridiculous with that afro, like that kind of stuff. There'd be always those comparisons for the yucks and stuff, but she would have to come up with some way to convince them that she's not Bulma from the future, because she's trying to be incognito. She would need to disguise herself, certainly, and obviously hide her excitement to be around her old friends again. So she would need to be quite restrained. Yeah, that too, absolutely. Not to smack him one. Gobi, what if Gohan's conferences weren't real, but were actually appointments with a shrink that he covers up from others by calling them conferences? Well, to be honest, he is really struggling in trying to find a work-life balance, so maybe he goes to these conferences because he's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I want to fight with my you know, my father and stuff like that, but I need to be there for Pan and Videl because they can't take care of themselves, and I feel really bad and stuff like that. Maybe it would be good that he's getting some help. I mean, we'd be very proud of him for seeking help, but, you know, I feel like it would not be very good for him to be dishonest with Videl about, you know, the conferences.
It's such a... it would be such a departure for his character. It'd be so strange.
It is very strange, definitely. Alright, Craig saying, what if Jiro could use magic enhanced androids? Well, I feel like Jiro wouldn't resort to magic because it's not within his nature, in the sense that he relies on technology and science. So he would not use magic to its fullest. The only way he would consider it is to, you know, power up what he already has, but he would never use magic solely. Like, he would only, like, find some way to be able to facilitate. Like, he would use magic to, like, increase the efficiency of something, not using it to enhance something. Like, it would mainly just be in the propagation of materials and stuff like that. Oh, I can conjure this material, which is really, really rare, but otherwise I can make loads of it, or stuff like that. It would basically be there to facilitate him making his creations, essentially. Craig says, what if Jiro survived and seeing the failure of Cell began making Cell version 2 with the new data? You call it Cells with a Z because Dragon Ball Z. Now, honestly, I think he would make Cell X. He would make Cell X, like from Dragon Ball Heroes. Basically make a giant kaiju cell with a proboscis. And basically a giant, like, thorax. That was so dumb. Have you ever seen Cell X?
You said that's in Heroes, is it?
Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Look for Cell X, and that's meant to be the further evolution of Perfect Cell.
Well, no, was it in the show or was it
in
a
Dragon
card?
Ball Heroes. In the game.
Oh God. Okay, I'll go look that up.
Well, while Mark's looking for that, Gobi's next. What if Goku was found and taken by Kaguya Hime to be raised in the moon, based off the tale of the bamboo cutter? Oh man, I really need to, because the tale of Prince Kaguya, I really need to remind myself about that. But basically, it would be a lot more spiritual. It'd be very much in keeping with the Dragon Ball theme, but I feel like, in a way, it would make that kind of thing a mystical adventure, quite literally. But honestly, Gobi, I need to really kind of bone up on that story. Because I know there is Princess Kaguya on Netflix, and I know that probably wouldn't be quite the same, but I really need to bone up on that to give you a proper qualified answer.
Cell X looks like a Digimon.
You heard it there, folks. To be honest, you're not wrong, Mark. You're absolutely not wrong. Okay. Craig Twitchell, what if Jiro was an ally to the Z team? How would that affect the story? Well, it would have to be a very, like, slow, you know, introduction and reacclimatization. So I would definitely say that really it would so depend on whether they could trust him. He would have to show multiple times that he can be trusted. Otherwise, they're not going to trust him at all. Like, say, I want to improve humanity through technology. If you can help me achieve that, I will help you. So if he'd be basically the tech guy, and like Bulma and he would have like a rivalry in that sense. So I can imagine that maybe like that. Or maybe a Dr. Wily, Dr. Light approach, maybe. Having to like team up for like a common enemy. That kind of thing. PADPARADSCHA, what if Vegeta and Bulma tried to fill the vacuum left by Frieza and Cold dying? President Bulma of the Capsule Empire? Oh man. Like Vegeta decides to become like, you know, the king or the emperor, taking up Frieza's scraps and stuff. Imagine that. Bulma gets to be a queen and then like dictate what stuff like that.
I mean, they did say for better or worse, I suppose, if they got married. So,
But certainly for richer.
are they married?
I don't. She does refer to him as the husband, but I don't know whether that's in name only. But I can imagine like he probably like did it just to shut her up. Like, fine, you know, I'll sign the papers if you just shut up, and that kind of stuff. It'd be mainly just he would do it just to appease her and get her off her back. So in that sense,
Fair enough.
Okay, PADPARADSCHA. No, that was like Gobi. What if Dragon Ball was like Shonen Junai Gumi? I'm sorry, Gobi. I'm like really struggling about that. I know it's a manga, and I know it's a classic manga from like the 90s and stuff, but it's about. Okay. I've looked it up quickly, and it's basically two dudes. It's like Kevin and Perry go large, essentially. You know, they're basically going to Ibiza to get with some girls.
Oh my god.
You know, but essentially, it like be like Dragon Ball, Goku and Vegeta instead of virginity. It's trying to find the best battle and stuff. But if they were in like that, it would be essentially the quest to like their virginity in terms of battles, like the ultimate battle. Like Jiren would be perfect, attaining absolute strength. He is the ultimate, their ultimate goal and their guide and their guru. That could be some kind of fun.
It would definitely be fun.
Yeah, Craig. What if Jiro fused with Bulma?
I'm sorry, that's a new one.
That is a new one. If Jiro,
What if
like,
fused with Bulma?
yeah. Welcome to the round table, Mark.
I mean, if you want to take their best qualities, they get magnified. So she'd be super smart.
Yeah, but also super dangerous and super paranoid and super crazy in some way. So essentially, it would be a very interesting combination. Very smart, though. Definitely, I would say that. Basically, what if instead of becoming Saiyaman, this is Gobi, by the way, Gohan became Bancho of an intimidating but lovable gang of Yankees or delinquents, with them acting as vigilantes. To be honest, I can imagine that happening in like mid-90s Japan in that sense. Like Gohan then sports this, basically Higashikata Josuke like hairdo, and becomes like a bunch of things, and just becomes the thing that Chi-Chi ultimately fears. But then she's got like, don't worry, Mom, I'm basically going undercover. I'm trying to like set them straight. That kind of like bringing them down from within in that sense. I can imagine them trying to get them into productive members of society. So I can imagine that.
Man.
He's just going along to try and set them straight. PADPARADSCHA, what if Goku Black was a forced fusion of Zamasu and Vanilla Goku? Well, he sort of is. And I did that sort of thing in What If Goku Black Turned Good? That one parter, but basically getting through, and then Zamasu having to kind of like force him to fuse. So if Goku Black was just like more thing, I can imagine Goku's body, or like his instinctive body, kind of rejecting it in a way, like fighting back at the worst possible moment for them. So I can imagine that.
If Goku Black turned good, wouldn't he feel like tremendous guilt remorse for slaughtering Goku's family?
Oh yeah, no, totally. That's what I did in my What If. I've actually done that.
He needs to go back.
Because it all hinged on that bit of dialogue that he said, like, I got this really, he talks about his, like, I really enjoyed that battle. There's something in my body that makes me feel really excited to fight and stuff like that. And Zamasu is just like, why? That doesn't make sense. That there's that disconnect between the two. And that's what's inspired me to do that What If. Like, what if Goku's body was actually corrupting Zamasu's mind, his brain, into making him something that the pure Zamasu does not like. So having that connection. So that's what I was kind of going for. So PADPARADSCHA, you're pretty much right on the money in that sense. Craig, what if Churro turned the Frieza Force into androids? Well, they'd be stronger, they'd have the Infinity Engine, and in short, I'd have to play the sound. There you go, Craig. Craig Twitchell, what if Dr. Gero... Gobi. What if Gohan was Yandere? Oh, so basically like Videl in the Barry Khan arc? Yeah, so I can imagine if Gohan were like that, he'd be really ultra creepy and really awkward in that sense. But unless you were kind of like, that worked with his rage boosts. So He would certainly be a bit more potent, and then basically kind of really creepy. So, I can imagine that. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Gohan's mental training awakened a watered-down version of Ultra Instinct? Basically meaning he dodges by separating his mind from his body for 1 second at a time. Loading crew. I don't think I've seen it yet, but we've still got a lot to get through, so you might have to be a bit patient there. But if Gohan had that, I can imagine maybe like the ultimate power might have been have some kind of connection to it. So maybe it's like some sort of watered down UI type thing. So maybe Ultimate Gohan is like some kind of like more accessible facsimile, and then it kind of adapts from there. CRAIO Twitchell, what if Cell was a tsundere or a yandere? Well, Cell kind of is in a way, like with Goku. You know, it's not that I like you or anything, Barker. I just want to fight you in my perfect body. So he would just be probably a little bit more aloof when it comes to fighting and stuff like that. But I can imagine him being more aggressive when Goku would like reject him. Like,
I feel like Toriyama would like that.
Yeah, I think he would definitely like that. Darth Samuel Nguyen, how can Naruto help the Z Fighters, and how can the Z Fighters help Naruto? Well, first of all, learning the Rasengan without needing a clone to help him, that's for a start. And Naruto, sheer determination and sheer obnoxiousness. And also telling Goku where to find good ramen. Those are the things that could help him, definitely.
Fun fact, I have not seen a single episode of Naruto.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know.
Wow, gosh. It's been a long time since I've actually watched any Naruto, to be sure. I would say that. Okay. The Somewhere Man. What if before or during Super, Goku and Chi-Chi accidentally Potara fused permanently? How would it affect battles? Would Chi-Chi try to stay fused to keep Goku in line, or would they wish to defuse ASAP? I think they would probably defuse eventually, because I think the Chi-Chi side of them would probably not want to be part of that battle. She would probably ultimately then maybe understand Goku's mindset better, so they would come out of that as a stronger couple, like them being able to understand one another more, being actually inside each other's heads. So I think that could probably work in that sense. Just a better understanding. It would solve their marriage, no problem. It would be a very, very interesting addition. Gobi. What if Vegeta and Goku were descendants of Yamoshi and Kumba respectively? Honestly, that would actually be a really cool connection to have. Like, if they were the descendants, because Yamoshi in that silhouette from Battle of Gods basically looks like Vegeta. So, if that were really that case, then it would be a really interesting twist that basically Vegeta was the descendant of the original Super Saiyan God. Yeah, it's not Goku. That connection would be a really interesting twist. And then Kumba, basically Goku being like this kind of like, you know, descendant of the evil one. So technically it's Goku who should have been the evil one. So that would be a very, very big twist. It's just a shame that, to be honest, I didn't want Kumba. It would have been much better if it was just like a jacked up, possessed Raditz instead of Kumba. I think. They missed a trick there. Hunt2120. Matsuka, I love your What If Gohan Was Like Broly story. Amazing work. And my question, what if Goku was like Broly? Well, I have to play the sound. Basically, if Goku were like that, then I don't think Grandpa Gohan would stand a chance if he was that tempestuous. Or that really angry and aggressive. So, unfortunately, I don't think it would very much end well for Grandpa Gohan. Or, indeed, the entire planet. And, PADPARADSCHA, what if Nappa was a woman and Vegeta's nanny? Okay. It's like, Vegeta, it's time for your nap. It's like, but I don't want to go to Nanny Nappa. Aw, come on, Vegeta. Say good night and go to sleep. Just like, you'd have like a Mrs. Doubtfire situation. Listen to... oh, God. But honestly, I think he'd have that... Realistically, though, I think he'd have the Berry Blue Freezer dynamic. Like, nobody gets to, like, make fun of Vegeta except for Nappa, because there'd be that kind of maternal connection. And maybe it might make Vegeta see reason a little bit, but it really kind of depends on how, you know, how receptive you would be to it. Mean Crank. What if Cooler was cool? Did rad skateboard tricks in space, played guitar with his tail, and was instantly cool with nearly everyone he met? Well, basically, it's just like, he would come down and say, "Sup, dudes, I heard you killed my brother. That's not whack, yo." It's like, you should really have not done that. It's like, oh, come on, dude. He was like trying to blow up a planet and stuff. Well, I know, he can be rather tempestuous, man, but that's no way to be acting. So basically, he would sound like Stamper. He'd say, well, absolutely. I don't think that's a really cool thing to do. It's like, so basically, he'd be like, I have to teach a lesson and stuff because you're being most heinous. And then eventually everyone would say, you know what, I kind of see your argument. Fair point, though. You're cool. Yes, I know. I am cool. I am cooler after all. Yeah, he'd basically be able to win any kind of argument. Craig Twitchell, what if Hercule was an android? To be honest, if Hercule was an android, it would be a big twist. Like, he would just have this thing. He'd be incredibly weak, but he would not be whittled down. He'd just keep going and going. He'd be the Duracell bunny. Like, Cell would just be like, why can't I kill this thing? He's not backing down. Like 24 hours later, he's getting winded. But Hercule, I'm just keep punching you. I'll keep punching you until you fall down. And then Cell's like, why am I even letting this happen? Just like having that meta kind of thing. He just will not stop. Jack Doubt, what if you made a what if right now? Well, the thing is though, it depends on the question. But basically, if it was someone turning good, you'd have to think of a way to make it believable within the world of Toriyama's vision. Not something that is too forced in a way. So it's just those are things you have to take into consideration. If it's like a train like Goku type thing, you need to pick when that happens and basically how they would interact with Goku's like, you know, powers and stuff. So it all kind of depends on certain variables. Gobi, what if after the Mexican cocktail, Super Saiyan Rose was instead called Paloma Rosa? Rosa for short. Super Saiyan Paloma. To be honest, that would be really, really cool. It would certainly make... man, I'm really thirsty after that. I could do with a drink and stuff. But it'd be an interesting way of, like, combining with the Kai different types of stuff like that. No, Gobi, we had the Duracell bunny here in the UK. We had the Duracell bunny, not the Energizer bunny. So, just so you know. Okay. Seth Porter, what if Beerus destroyed the Earth in Battle of Gods? Well, he'd have... Well, sound. That sound is not necessarily for the Earthlings. It would be for Beerus, because he'd be missing out on the best food in the galaxy. So, he would not know what he was missing. E.g., what if One Piece characters were set in Dragon Ball? Mark, you've been, like, catching up with One Piece. What would you say if the One Piece characters were in Dragon Ball, based on what you've seen?
And there's a lot of stereotypes there, or I should say stereotypes. There are a lot of tropes that are consistent between both Dragon Ball and One Piece. And I think One Piece did a special with Dragon Ball and Kirito way back when, and they kind of had the characters that were kind of similar, kind of vying against each other. Like Luffy is really like Goku in a lot of ways, but they're distinct, obviously. But sorry, what was the question? Who would is it like who would be who, or
like which what if One Piece characters were set in Dragon Ball?
I suppose Luffy would be taking the role of Goku. Vegeta would switch with... I don't think there is a Vegeta character, really. I mean, if you want to go with Zoro, maybe?
Maybe, but that it seems like a little bit weird, a little bit false.
Yeah, it wouldn't be, because he's not a rival of Luffy. He's actually a disciple. I don't know. I mean, maybe Buggy. I don't know. But I don't know. It would be a very different story because this powers and all that kind of stuff aren't the same. There isn't ki in the world, or at least not as far as I've gotten and stuff. So it's all like devil fruit and stuff. So it's more magic based, I suppose, than sci-fi based.
The chat are saying that Zoro's more like Piccolo.
I wouldn't even say that, because like at no point did Zoro ever really challenge Luffy. I mean, or at least not in the bits that I've seen up until Drum Island. So like, he's just been his ally. Okay. He's been a really cool guy.
Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, though. Anime Guy 01. What if Goku Black was actually an evil time traveling Goku who never bumped his head? That'd be incredibly meta, and it would certainly confirm that multiverse was actually a thing in this universe. So, honestly, I think that's pretty much it. He basically would prove that multiverse theory was a thing. Bomber was right, and I play the sound, unfortunately. Tempest Mars says, "Hey Mars, congrats on the pup." Oh, thanks, dude. And hello to you, Mark. What if Super Janemba's Demon World Syndicate boss, as Boo's Fury said, but spoke and universe hops. But okay, the context being is that Havarok and I, we did like a what if Janemba was brought into Dragon Ball Super. We'd make him like some sort of mafia boss in that kind of sense. So basically, as in like based around Boo's Fury. Because apparently in Boo's Fury, it did said that Janemba was part of a mafia collective.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently in Boo's Fury, it was a little bit tidbit in like a bio or something like that.
I mean, like the only experience I ever really had with Janemba was through obviously the fusion group.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always thought of him as like I always thought his most interesting attribute was his like powers and stuff with the whole teleportation thing. It was really cool. I mean, as I said, like it really just depends on what kind of angle you want to take with it. If you want to take it with a mafia boss, you'd be changing the character completely from what I know him as. But then again, he didn't really have that much of a character to begin with in Fusion Reborn. So
yeah. But yeah, Tempest, look up Janemba on my channel and you'll find it. So do enjoy. Mean Crank, on crossovers, as Dragon Ball's world is large and diverse, you could put characters into the story in places that fit them. Example: Dio as part of the Red Ribbon Army, Jonathan as one of the Barber Fighters, etc. Oh, okay, loads of JoJo characters. Like you could have William Zeppeli and King Kai being a thing. Basically, that initial thing talking about supernatural powers. So that would definitely be one there. You probably have the two ancient fighters that Jonathan fights. Oh, I forget their names. No, but I know those ones. Basically, you probably have that as kind of like the old, like Yamoshi and Kumba, like the fighting of the past. Yeah, basically that. PADPARADSCHA, what if Bardock got a lucky shot on Yamcha'd Frieza? Okay, basically, unfortunately I would have to play the sound again, but that has been played too recently. Basically, if they killed Frieza, King Cold would immediately come down and say, "What have you done to my... Oh my goodness, you killed my baby boy! To hell with you!" Boom. King Cold to destroy them instantly. Like, they would have to they would have maybe some time to regroup, but basically... they'd be toast because King Cold would annihilate them all, basically, for murdering his princess. Stuff. Tarkus and Bruford. Thank you, Jotaro. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Joseph, tell us, if anyone but Kai's used them, why didn't Elder Kai defuse from the old witch? Probably, I would imagine there'd be some kind of... yeah, because they can technically defuse with the Dragon Balls, but I imagine now with Elder Kai... he's probably gotten used to it. Or maybe the fact they've been fused together for so long, maybe their minds have like completely meshed so much that it would not really be compatible. Like they would not really be able to function as separate beings. Like it maybe depends on how long they've been fused. We don't know much about Potara in terms of the long term. Gobi, what if post-tournament of power, Gohan disavowed his relationship with Goku, refusing to interact with him beyond exigency and forbidding him from interacting with Adele and Pan? Also, basically, if Gohan got the hump with Goku so much, they basically isolated themselves from the family. Well, I imagine Goku would be really sad, but he would probably get over it. I think Chi-Chi would be the one that would take it the hardest. But basically, it would cause this major rift. Like, Gohan would never come and visit. Chi-Chi would have to be the one to go there. And ultimately, it would be like, Goku would be like, "I don't see the problem." That kind of stuff. Like, he would not get it. And basically Gohan would be the one really holding this grudge between them. Like Goku would just be the innocent party out of it all. Honestly, it'd be an interesting way of Goku having to face some kind of consequence for his actions. Because up until the Moro arc, he's not actually had that. He's gotten off scot-free with things in Super. Like, the Moro arc is the first time where Goku's actually having to face consequences, and he doesn't like it. He basically is like facing up against Moro, and he's going like, "I don't want to fight this guy anymore. He's not going down. I'm hitting him really hard. It's not working." And Moro, in my canon, has a Scottish accent. "Oh, it's the wee little Saiyan getting a little bit aggravated. I thought you Saiyans liked fighting." So, just kind of like that. Just like that different twist is that Moro doesn't fight for enjoyment. He's just doing it's a means to an end, and Goku hates it. He's hating this fight, which is so rare, but it's so refreshing. It's like, okay, Haverock says this, but okay, Goku, you want a fight against a strong guy? Here you go. You're not going to enjoy it, so karma. It's a bit of Palmer karma, in my opinion. Devon D's, what if Vegeta goes Super Saiyan 2 when Super Perfect Cell kills Trunks? Well, if he did, it would still not. I mean, Vegeta would probably be able to at least fight against Super Perfect Cell instead of being knocked down in one hit. So he would at least be able to put up some kind of a challenge, enough for Gohan to help get the slip, and then together they might be able to have taken him down. But it certainly would have meant that Gohan would have still had 2 arms to use. So it would at least bought Gohan some time to be able to like get some kind of attack on, or at least join in the fray. But yeah, Vegeta would not have gone down in one hit, definitely. The Royal Tiger Mercenaries. In honor of my sister getting married today. Oh, that's awesome. Tell them we say congratulations. What if Vegeta married 18? You want to take this, Mark?
What if Vegeta married 18?
Yeah.
I'm just... Well, like, didn't he technically... He'd already have a child with Bulma.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to think of the situation here because he really hated her. He really hated her. The first thing 18 did to him was break his arms. So...
But maybe he's just like, oh my god, that hurts so hot. Like, almost like strong women. It's like, this is the ultimate strong woman.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's not super tall either, so, I mean, you don't even need to change his character.
Yeah, exactly.
That much.
Basically, Steve says the whole arm breaking thing is a turn on for him.
Yeah, hey. I could see it working. I think it's a completely different dynamic. You wouldn't get situations like the My Bulma scene from Battle of Gods because of 18 being so capable.
Yeah,
I think it's nice seeing someone who is much smarter than Vegeta, and then for Bulma, who Vegeta is much stronger than her. So together they actually are better together, maybe.
Yeah, no, certainly. Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, Nick asks, how much do you and Mark pay your editor hourly/weekly? Well, for me, I pay myself because I edit my videos. So for me, I don't pay an editor. I edit my videos myself. So Mark, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. But
it was a kind of a different situation. I'm not going to name specifics, but as my channel grew, I ended up paying him more per video. So I think that's what fair. I'm really proud of what Nexus does.
Oh yeah.
He makes my videos good. Like and the thing is, like, some of you guys who are watching, if you do watch my videos, I can almost guarantee that in my videos that you've seen, you've missed almost all the Easter eggs he puts in there, because he puts a tremendous amount of work into what he does, which is the reason why I have him as my editor. He's amazing. Oh
yeah, Nexus, I can attest, and he was actually on our podcast recently. So Mark, we should definitely get you on there in the future. But basically, he's a one dedicated being. He's very, very hardworking. We're very proud of what he does.
No, absolutely sure. I mean, like in one of the videos that I made a while back, he edited, like he animated an entire sequence for Ultra Instant Shaggy. Like, I mean, and he did that without me even needing to ask for it. He just did it because he thought it would be funny.
No, because we were talking about that, and that he says that's one of his favorite memes. So I know if he really likes something, he really gets the bit between his teeth. He's really passionate in that sense.
No, he's amazing.
Yeah, Miguel Lilly. What if Goten and Trunks continue to grow as the prodigies they were originally meant to be, and learn to fight separately instead of just fused? Well, we'd actually have what Dragon Ball Z's mission statement was, and talking about like the, about the next generation and stuff like that. They would actually been able to take that seriously, and then you'd have Goten and Trunks leading the team. So, well, there you go. So we'd have actually had what Dragon Ball Z set out to do with Gohan. Goten, and Trunks leading the charge. So you'd actually been able to keep to the promise of moving on to the next generation. Thus, Samuel Newen, how does energy training work? That's my main problem in writing What If. Today was my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Samuel.
Happy birthday.
In terms of energy training, I imagine it's kind of like energy manifestation using chi. So if you want to talk about look up books like learning about chi and basically try and find some way of integrating into something that's a bit more enhanced and a bit more science fiction-y and fantasy. But something that could be basically based on in the grounds of theoretical philosophy. So long as you've got that connection to reality in some type of tome, I think it could work. Half Sans, what if Goku had a daughter before Gohan? Well, if it were the typical, stereotypical 80s scenario, then Chi-Chi would have never allowed this girl to have fought. But it depends. Ultimately, Goku would say, well, it's up to her. What does she want to do? So I imagine probably it would just be that kind of thing where they'd have to kind of try and vie for the girl's affection or for girl's passion and stuff. So, all right. E.g., what if the Dragon series was an R-rated series? Well, technically, Z got really dark, and it was actually aired on Wednesday evenings. Yeah, the original series. So you did get a lot of blood and a lot of violence. So you probably just get even more of that. So even more of that. You probably get a little bit more kind of fan service in that sense. A bit more stuff. Not too much, because this was 90s anime, so it would still be quite tasteful and more suggestive rather than in your face like modern fan services. But you would certainly have more violence. Certainly. It would certainly be a little even more darker than Z was. Stuff you're seeing in Dragon Ball Multiverse with Majin Buu. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So you'd see
I haven't read that in ages.
Well, basically, it caused a lot of controversy because basically Majin Buu just pointed her fingers at Piccolo and his eyes came out of his head. It's as Chaozu would say in DBZA, whoa, brutal!
So it's just it's kind of falling more into fan fiction territory.
Sort of, yeah. But basically, it would be really dark. Yeah.
Sounds really dark.
Yeah, it definitely is. PADPARADSCHA, what if Vegeta was a student of the Crane School and Chaozu the Saiyan Prince? Well, Chaozu is a prince in some sense in one of the Dragon Ball movies. And if Vegeta was a student of the Crane School, then, Master Shen would definitely have a prodigy on his hands. Something a bit more accomplished than basically what Tenshinhan were. But I can imagine the cruelness of Vegeta would certainly that's something that Master Shen would enjoy. Devon, what if Guinea destroyed Raditz's scouter? This could result in a merging of What If Guinea and What If Raditz. Would there be any major changes? Well, basically, if Guinea took Raditz's scouter and destroyed it, then maybe for a while he might have been able to try and have a chance to escape. Yeah, maybe use that time to not be tracked and traced. But it depends on how bold Raditz was, if he was brave enough to be able to actually do it and not worry about what the consequences would be. So if he were able to do that, then he probably would try and go after his brother and try and find some ways to live a life in peace. But if he capitulated, then he probably would just get another scouter. It depends on how brave Raditz wanted to be at that time. Alright, Jonah Medical. 2 questions. 1, do you think Zeno and Arale could be friends? Almost definitely. They're basically the same in terms of their chaos. And 2, as someone with autism, I'm wondering if anyone in the Dragon Ball universe has any type of mental health problems. Depression, anxiety, etc. I imagine probably, Tenshinhan might do in terms of depression and stuff like that. Just in the sense of, he has this common goal to try and beat Goku, but it's a never-ending struggle and stuff like that. And he uses to try and focus things with martial arts. And I imagine that Gohan has a lot of anxiety because in Dragon Ball Super, you see it all the time. And it manifests itself when he's finding about future Trunks and he then makes that decision to train. So he does have a level of anxiety in not knowing what he wants to be. So Super, not very well, tried to actually really explain this, but again, didn't really do it that well. But yeah, I can imagine that Gohan has some kind of anxiety disorder manifesting itself. Certainly. Chrome Bison, what if the heart virus Goku contracted was a viral mutagen created by Dr. Gero that would mutate the host into Cell? Oh man, you'd have this kind of the Fly situation. As in it basically transforms his mind into some set of, programmed type personality. They basically would have to destroy, Perfect Cell, who's then transformed from Goku, and then try and use the Dragon Balls to wish Goku back to what he was before Cell had mutated him. But it would certainly be very, very dark and certainly very twisted. You'd have to find some way it would certainly have to get Gohan to step up more with the help of maybe Vegeta training him. So it could be a bit of a twist. PADPARADSCHA, what if Frieza was reincarnated like Kid Buu? Just want Mark's take on the staple what if. Ah yes, okay Mark, some context. Our little
Okay.
joke here is if Frieza was reincarnated, they would be then reincarnated as the daughter of Vegeta named Azir, because the canon here is that if you're reincarnated, your name is backwards. So, your name is backwards, and he is basically, Azir is someone who looks like Frieza but has pigtails. So,
Oh, okay.
what's
What's the question?
What if Frieza was reincarnated like Kid Buu? Like, what would Frieza's reincarnation would be like?
Probably the same thing it would be doing right now, isn't it? He's kind of been reincarnated, and he would just try to reclaim what he once was, and to continue his goal, which is worldwide, galaxy-wide domination. No?
Yeah. Okay. But how would you do it? Like, it'd be like something on Earth, or would it be somewhere in a different world, someone within the Frieza Force of old, and something like that?
Well, like, I mean, if it's just him being resurrected and doing that whole thing again, it would surely, we already know what he would do. He's already been resurrected, and he's doing what he's
Well,
doing.
it's not necessarily resurrection; it's reincarnated into, like, you know, Kid.
Oh, like Oob and stuff. Okay.
Like, an element of Frieza remains.
He'd have to be a prodigy.
Mm.
But I mean, like, that's really difficult, because you'd have to be kind of thinking to like, oh, that's really hard, because Oob works that way because he was kind of like Majin Buu was kind of composed of a good and a bad side, and I don't know. I mean, like, he'd just be the same personality, I guess, but reincarnated with a different set of memories.
Okay. All right, but it's fair enough. It is quite hard to think about on the spot, but fair enough. Thanks anyway, Mark. Okay. We got Bossy Bats. What if Goku married Launch instead of Chi? Basically, if Goku married Launch, I can imagine that relationship being quite, like, volatile. But honestly, towards the end of it, when he grew up, like, Launch really was, like, quite mellow with the group, and actually quite got on with them quite well. Maybe, like, once, like, Goku had become an adult, like, Launch would be like, hey, well, dang, that guy's kind of hot. Like, she would find him attractive in that sense. And, like, maybe they would start dating in that way, but, like, Goku would, like, find it really weird. Like, and very kind of nerve-wracking to know who was who. But he could totally get a handle and maybe kind of, like, really appreciate the whole kind of, like, strong woman mentality. So, yeah, I think they would actually get on fairly well, but it would certainly be very unpredictable. I mean, there would be a lot of fights. Let's just say that. Tattered Shield? What if Vegeta realized after fighting Frieza and the androids that he shouldn't let his opponents power up and beat Semi-Perfect Cell? Well, if he actually did that, then we wouldn't have had Perfect Cell. So everything would have ended, and it would have actually been a really good way of, like, a really ending, like, a chapter of Vegeta's life, in the sense of, like, actually getting rid of that trope and actually being useful, in the sense of, like, not trying to ruin everything. But in a way, it would have certainly been, in terms of a theme and thematic and drama, it wouldn't have been the same, because having it end at Semi-Perfect Cell and just ending like that, it would certainly have not really utilized Goku in that way, and it would have just been a bit of a letdown, really. It's good for Vegeta, but I don't think it would actually really work out. Okay, Yash says, are we going to see some more of your Super Saiyan 3 voice? I absolutely lost it during R&R episode 1. I respect everything you and Mark do. I'm working on a project myself, which I want to share if possible. Oh, hey Yash, yeah, sure. Share it on the subreddit, r/MasakoX, and that'll certainly be able to see it. And the thing is, in DBZA, with the bit when he's showing, like, off Boo's powers, it was going to be like, this is Super Saiyan. This is Super Duper Saiyan. And this is Super Duper Saiyan. That kind of thing. Yeah, so basically when Vegeta says Super D Saiyan, Super D Super Saiyan, it's kind of like that. Super D Duper Saiyan. So it would have been like that. Gobi. What if Gohan was a Wall Street wolf with his gentle personality doing a comical 180 whenever he goes into business mode, especially on the phone? Well, okay, like, imagine if, like, Gohan, when he's like, well, I gotta go to the conference and everything like that, but as soon as he gets in, he's like an absolute, everybody hates him because he's so aggressive to people. Like, he's like a Gordon Ramsay of the conference world. But, like, when he's outside, he's just the sweetest guy. But then all the people he works with, he's just, like, really, like, I can't get a read on that guy. So it'd be just that kind of like level of uncertainty. That would be really, really bizarre for them. So I see that. But that would be really interesting. And actually really in keeping with Dragon Ball. Alright, Mav Station. What if Vegeta was average height? Not much of a difference, really. He would just have maybe less insecurities, maybe? If he is that bothered about it. But there would be fewer short jokes. I mean, we'd certainly run short of those.
I don't think Vegeta really kind of cares about his height that much. I mean, if he did, he'd bring it up more. But, like, I think the whole point of him being short is to kind of emphasize his inferiority complex.
Yeah, no, you would lose that facet of his personality in that way, but
or
yeah.
at least it wouldn't be as pronounced. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. PADPARADSCHA. What if Chi-Chi was the Prince of all Saiyans and Vegeta the Princess of Fire Mountain? Okay. In terms of that, it's all about nurture in that sense. Basically, I don't see really much of that difference, just in terms of their gender and identity. But even then, it wouldn't really make much of a difference. It would just be like, depends on how they handled their surroundings. So, maybe, you know, you just hear Vegeta being the Princess of Fire Mountain, being really doe-eyed and really like a damsel in distress, which would be inherently kind of funny, I will say. The Royal Tiger Mercenaries. What if Kid Goku found and ate a gum-gum fruit back when he lived in the woods? Well, again, it really depends on which gum-gum fruit it was. But if it was like the gum-gum fruit that Luffy had, then you would basically just have what Piccolo had and have stretchy arms. So like when Piccolo uses stretchy arms, like Goku uses it back, he's like, ugh, what's this? I thought only I could do it. And it's just like, there's a lot of things you don't know about me, Piccolo.
I get so anxious whenever someone talks about One Piece now because I'm just really conscious of just not getting spoiled and stuff. I have AJ like looking at my comments and everything, man. It's freaking crazy.
Oh dear, guys, go easy on the spoilers. Mark is going through a really big experiment, so we don't want to like sully his different things.
Oh no, I'm like okay. Now that you've mentioned it, now that I mentioned it, I'm not going to look at the comments under your video anymore now because I've been kind of responding to people like haphazardly every now and then, but I just gotta stop now because I just can't take any risks.
Yeah, don't take any risks there, but don't worry, we'll keep going. Okay. What do we have next? We've got Leo Star. What if the events of GT happened after the Broly movie, though everything would be a bit stronger, of course? Well, you'd have to find a way of bringing Oob back, or find a reason why Goku is training with people, or it's just like one day Goku's up on the lookout, and you know, Pilaf's there and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just that kind of stuff. But I suppose really it would just be some way of like, maybe like Goku would then be there, but you'd have to have Goten maybe. But it really kind of depends on who would go with like Goku. And depending whether they'd actually be able to make a spaceship that could do all that kind of travel. So I'm just going to say, in short, playing the sound. Andres Morero. What if there was a power limit, planet raising, aka Ozaru, for mortals, and they go beyond it, they cease to exist, no exception? Okay, like there's some kind of hard limit on the universe? Well, Goku would have certainly hit it, honestly. But I think really, with Frieza just staying where he was, he probably would have been like the pinnacle. Like, because all the Supreme Kais and stuff like that say, oh my god, someone stronger than Frieza? Like, if Frieza was the limit, Goku goes Super Saiyan, beats Frieza, and then gets booped out of existence. Like, Perfect Cell, when he actually manifests, finally, I'm on my way to reach perfect. Like, there's this hard limit and stuff like that. But basically, it would certainly be a little bit strange. Like, it would certainly take out, like, it'd be really anticlimactic. Let's just say that. Nobody would actually be able to get strong. Joe the Medical. I just discovered Rising Fist on YouTube yesterday. Who else does cool things with Dragon Ball? What if fan manga, video games, etc.? K&K Productions. I will give you a recommendation there. Goku with the GoPro. That little skit, I really loved being a part of. And it was, I'm really looking forward for them to do more stuff. So K&K Productions, that's where you should go. PADPARADSCHA. What if Snake Way looped around and the KK planet was just on the other side of the check-in station? Like Korin's Tower getting there as part of the training. I can imagine that being pretty meta. And the KK planet, let me just remind myself what that was exactly. KK planet. Oh. Again, oh, King Kai's planet. Right, sorry. Abbreviation, sorry. I can imagine that being the funny thing, but to be honest, it would be like, It depends on whether, like, King Yemma just was, like, whether he liked Goku. Because if he actually got on with Goku, he probably would just, like, say, well, he's just right over there, and stuff like that. And then King Kai said, oh no, I just wanted to see whether you're actually willing to really wanted my training, so you just had to go around that time. You mean I could have just gone over there, right behind that door? Yeah, I know, right? Really funny, eh? Okay, let's get on with your training. So, it would depend on whether Yemma and King Kai just wanted to screw with him. Like, that kind of stuff. Darth Samuel, what if humans were a lost Saiyan colony that removed their tail? That's why Gohan, Trunks, and Goten had an easier time with Super Saiyan. Totally possible. Like, it could be just like a various type of Saiyan tribe from back in ancient times. Like, they just went to Earth and they kind of just devolved into more simplistic humans. Like, less predators that can actually bother them. So they kind of, like, adapted in a different way. That kind of stuff. So, could be. Craig Twitchell, what if Jiro kidnapped Gohan when he was little to get back at Goku? The Z-Team didn't find Gohan until the Android Saga. Well, not good, because that rage boost could have easily been capitalized by Jiro, and also, I imagine that would have easily led to Goku losing it, in terms of going Super Saiyan 2, if he found out that his only son had basically been turned into an experiment. Like, there would have certainly been an even bigger impulse to stop Jiro in that sense. It would have certainly been way more tragic. Way dark, certainly. It would have certainly been a really big twist if Gohan just suddenly disappeared. Nobody knew what happened, not even the audience. And then suddenly, lo and behold, he comes back as an android. Like, well, okay. That's really, really dark. You would really hate Jiro after that.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Devin, what if when Kakarot hit his head, it just changed his personality but didn't make him forget anything? Anything change or just a different name? Well, he wouldn't really know what his name was, so he probably would just still be called Goku. But I suppose really, if he would just like... Because the thing is, like, he was a baby and a toddler, so he didn't really know much in the first place. So all he would know probably is just like, maybe that, you know, he didn't have a mother or something like that, or whatever Gohan told him, like trying to be honest and stuff. So it really kind of depends in that sense. Frost, what if Piccolo had the Red Eye form from Dragon Ball Online? Oh, so if he had like a power-up? Oh, cool. So actually Piccolo having a transformation in that sense, like Super Saiyan? Yeah, it would certainly made him more relevant. I'd have loved to have seen that being implemented in Dragon Ball Super. Put even more stuff in Dragon Ball Online in that thing, for as far as I'm concerned. Loading Crew, what if Goku was a wizard? If Goku was a wizard, then he would probably use magic in conjunction with his attacks, like, to enhance them. Like, an opposite sort of Jiro. Like, he would use magic to, like, work with his ki, like, in kind of, like, synchronicity. But he wouldn't use magic solely. He would use it in some way in conjunction with what he already has. So, kind of like combining of the two. Papa Podo said Goku would remember the scene from the film. Okay, it depends on which one you're talking about. If you're talking about Dragon Ball Z when he was a baby, then sure. But maybe, like, if it was the Broly movie, yeah, he would remember who his parents were. Like, and then maybe some kind of the basics, but it would depend on how much he was actually able to maintain. It's that kind of thing. It's an important kind of, you know, factor. Okay, King Adam, what if the Supreme Kais arrived sooner after the Frieza saga? Well, it makes sense because basically they keep talking about Frieza, and if they basically compare Frieza, then it'd be that kind of sense, and that maybe that they would help train for the androids, like help train them to get stronger. We might have had Ultimate Goku, so ultimately it would have led to, no pun intended there.
I was just gonna say.
But then it would just probably be just like a real kind of like boost in that regard. Goku would probably just get this transformation. He'd think that there's going to be more training after that 25 hours around with Elder Kai dancing. But then when Elder Kai goes like, nope, that's it. That's all the training. Like, Goku would be a bit disappointed. But I think the power would actually then go like, basically, I was testing your patience. You passed the challenge of patience. They would have to try and find some way of making it sound better than it actually was. And then Goku not sounding so bad. Yeah. Nick Wolf? Which 3 non-Saiyans would you give Mystic powers or Ultimate? I'd say Chi-Chi, Videl, or Piccolo. They're making infusions, not a transformation. Piccolo, Ultimate Piccolo, that could be kind of cool. Videl, that might have been a nice thing that maybe, like, Gohan would say, oh, you could reach your ultimate potential with this. Like, I think that could be a good way of them bonding and stuff. And a bit of comedy with the Elder Kai. Like, he tries to be lecherous, but then Gohan just, like, says, don't you dare. Like, kind of working in that sense. And then with Chi-Chi, maybe some kind of try and find some way of clarifying and understanding about how her husband works. So, that kind of sense. Being able to fight back in a way. Leo Star. What if good Nappa met good Raditz? They would basically go out for drinks and then say how much they hate Vegeta. Like, it's like, oh, don't get me started on Vegeta. Oh, that guy was sure a jerk. Remember the time when he was... Oh, yeah, that guy was a real buffoon. Wasn't he short? I know, right? We're so tall and he's, like, so small. Oh, yeah, you're the best, Raditz. Just like, they would join their mutual hatred for Vegeta. Instead of it being in GT, where all that Nappa does is... No dialogue. It's just like he just like grunts. That was a shame. That would have been a cool bit for dialogue. But anyway. Andres Morero. What if someone wished for the sea and sky to be swapped or become one and the same? Water and air are the same. No flying, no lasers, mermaids rule. Well, you'd have more mermaids, that's for sure. And you would have to try and find some way of like making like some robotic flippers to try and adapt. Like, and try and find a way to escape the planet. So that would certainly be very meta. But yeah, the mermaids would indeed become the kings and queens of the world. Certainly. It would certainly make the plot a bit fishy, in my opinion. Akima Ryu? Hello everyone, I know you just recently made a video about this, but how would you feel if Beat and Note were the MC for Dragon Ball Heroes anime besides Goku and Vegeta, and the main cast took the mentorship? Honestly, if they just made Super Dragon Ball Heroes what the plot is for Dragon Ball Heroes the game, that would have been actually a much better story. Like, something like, okay, it's its own thing, it's an isekai of Dragon Ball. So, just do that. And they would have actually been like, oh cool, it's Beat and Note from the game. And, you know, it would have been less confusing than just having, you know, just sticking the world mission game in the Western world. And people go like, what? Like, the only thing that people know about Dragon Ball Heroes before then was just seeing those random clips on YouTube of Super Saiyan 3 Trunks. That's all that people know at that time. It would certainly have been good for clarification. Right. David James says Molly Shadows is the best in context to the what if Krillin was a girl and married Goku. And fair enough, that was a very, very funny what if, definitely. Okay. Bossy Bats, what if Bardock cheated on Guinea with Farsha and had Turles years before Goku in secret and made it into a what if Turles turned good scenario? You know what, that would have actually been an interesting twist, that Bardock and Farsha had a kid and it was Turles. Like, you know what? That would actually been a twist that would actually made a little bit of sense. Like, you know, because I imagine like, yeah, monogamy is not really a thing in Saiyan society. So maybe like in a previous time before, you know, he had Raditz and Raditz and Goku. You know, Farsha and Bardock had a fling and stuff like that, and then Turles was born. So like he's like the older brother of both Raditz and Goku. That would have explained why they have the same hair, instead of it just making just another Goku, or just Dark Me and stuff. Okay. Tata Shield. So question for the if Goku was female story is Vegeta not going to be coming back as an android? His body is still there, right? Well, I don't really know. I haven't actually gotten that far yet, Tata Shield, so I need to actually write that kind of stuff. So I need to actually know. But as far as I know, I don't think so. Akemi Ryu, MasakoX Ultimate Attack Unsubscribe Canon. Oh, so yeah, like in the Day of Zaidan comic, that Raditz just says, unsubscribe!
Yeah, Nexus was showing me that. That was really good.
Yeah. And so it's just basically me just shouting, unsubscribe! So it would just be that. Yeah?
Yeah, no, that was really. I honestly got. I think Nexus was showing me the entire process going through that before he gave it to you even, and he was just showing me, and I kind of like gave him like little bits of like my feedback on where I think the panels were and stuff. Like I just think he did a class job with it, and the ending with you doing the unsubscribe thing was really fun.
Yeah, no, I mean that was just I really liked that. Just like that was a really cool birthday present. Like it was really cool. It was really nice to have. Nick Cordo, what if each level of Super Saiyan was a double-edged sword and every time it was used it injured you and weakened your base form? Oh, like some kind of caveat. So maybe it'd be like some kind of way that it'd have to kind of like resort to it only as a last resort.
It's like a Kaioken.
Yeah, sort of like that with Kaioken. And then maybe like with what they had with like Kaioken times 10, like having that kind of like key dysfunction type thing. Like caveats, they don't have to keep resorting it all the time.
I like my favorite part about the Kaioken. The Kaioken's my favorite technique purely because it has a drawback. So.
Yeah, it needs to have some kind of like kind of like flaw to make it like so you just can't spam it. Certainly.
Exactly.
Right, Red Max, what if Dr. Giro had kidnapped Chi-Chi and turned her into an android for revenge? It would be right when they were training for the androids after Trunks told them about it. She can be incorporated into Cell's body. So basically, just say, "Ah yes, Son Gohan, have you done your homework? Have you been studying like a good boy?" Why are you taking an interest in my studies? Oh, no reason. No reason at all. I'm not part of your mother. It's like, I bet you can go EastEnder. You're not my mother. Yes, I am. Just having that kind of thing. It's like, and then Gohan's just really confused. But ultimately, if Chi-Chi was turned into an android and that kind of twist, I imagine Goku would be extremely pissed. Like, this would be like, Super Saiyan Grade 2 level, induction of rage. Like, you don't touch the people he cares about. Because you saw what happened against Zamasu when he basically was taunting Goku like that. Not good.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think those kind of situations are where we get like, I think having a silly Goku is important, but I think also having a serious Goku or showing that he, cares about stuff is important too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Alban Jimenez, what if Sherlock from Dragon Ball Legends was canon? Well, he would definitely be game for that, certainly. And to be honest, I really need to catch up with the Legends story, but from what I've heard, people really like Charlotte. Like, the story in Legends apparently is really good. So I actually need to catch up with the story. But I haven't actually played it much since the game came out, because I kind of got to the point where there was no more content. I kind of feel like, oh, okay, I'll wait until there's content, and then just basically forgot about it. So I really need to kind of go back to it. PADPARADSCHA, what if King Furry found Goku after defeating King Piccolo when he was looking for him? Well, basically, if Goku basically was, said, "Oh, I was the one that killed King Piccolo," I imagine King Furry would give him some kind of medal and stuff like that and a reward, like maybe, like saying, give him like a home or something like that in terms of some kind of title, like Son Goku, the Defender of Earth and stuff like that. And Goku's just like, "Oh, cool. Well, I'm gonna go now." So just that kind of thing, and maybe just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go." Say, "What are you gonna do now?" "I'm gonna train for the next World Martial Arts Tournament," and that kind of stuff. It would make Goku a household name, like he'd be famous. So, yeah.
No, I think one of my favorite things about Goku is that he isn't a household name. Like, that's actually I think why I think one of the big reasons why GT's ending like really hit me was when we saw Goku actually get a statue. Like that was like a massive moment where like he's gone like unthanked for like his entire life, but posthumously he is thanked and recognized.
Well, yeah, because I imagine that Hercule would have definitely said that about. And also because he is a champion. He did win the World Martial Arts Tournament, so he is known in that sense of winning the 23rd. But he's recognized more, probably at the behest of Mr. Satan. But on his deathbed or before, like he would say, Goku was a really inspiring guy.
Yeah, he would say so. Yeah.
Andres Morero, what if someone wished for everyone to have common sense and Chaozu is a great emperor whose kingdom is centered around magic and psychic powers? Well, things would be a lot more logical, probably a little bit more paranoid, but because in the sense that nobody can actually, keep secrets and stuff. But in that sense, like, Vegeta wouldn't have let Semi-Perfect Cell actually get the jump on him. Like, it would certainly be a bit more boring. Safer, but boring, I would say. Craig Twitchell, What if Dr. Gero synthesized Super Saiyan and reverse engineered it for humans? Okay. So basically, if he experimented it and made it an upgrade as part of his androids, like they could become super androids, like superbots, then I'm afraid I'll have to play the sound. If you had super androids with the Infinity Engine, then basically you'd have, you'd be like, yeah, how would you battle against that? Like something with a transformation akin to Super Saiyan and cannot stop. So, yeah, it would certainly be something really interesting. Yeah. And Red Dragon Force says, like, Hercule said, yeah, that Goku wasn't all about tricks after all. You know, he was no trick. That kind of stuff. Gobi, what if Saiyans were like spotted hyenas instead of monkeys, since hyenas are incredibly hardcore as hunters and survivors? Oh, well, basically, like, King Kai would, like, say, well, what? You're not gonna laugh? Apparently you guys are like hyenas and you just don't stop laughing. Like, there'd be some kind of connections to laughter and stuff like that. They'd probably fight in packs. Like, maybe they'd be a bit more attuned to actually working together. Like, not fighting solo in a way. So,
they're one of Africa's most successful hunters.
there you go. So they'd be even more effective than giant great apes. So there you go. The Tuffles wouldn't have stood a chance. Molly Shadows, what if Goku became the perfect house husband for Chi-Chi? Oh man, Chi-Chi would be much happier. Like, she'd be much happier. That household would be much more harmonious, but it depends on whether she would allow him to have that outlet and being able to actually, you know, deal with it and actually be able to train Gohan. Maybe there'd just be a better understanding. That household would be much more harmonious, certainly. And he would also actually, he probably would also, he'd be one of those people that would watch those 5-minute craft videos to make food. That stuff. Life hacks. He'd be definitely about those life hacks. PADPARADSCHA, what if post-cell Gohan wound up on the Infinity Train? Oh man, PADPARADSCHA, I know you've been mentioning about the Infinity Train. I'm sorry, I've still not watched it. I'm really sorry. You know, with the whole COVID stuff, it's really been knocked out of my mind, as well as having puppies. But I will make a note of it, I promise, PADPARADSCHA, to at least bone up on Infinity Train. So, I do promise. Now that things have calmed down. So, I do apologize. Alright, Lucas Bell. Hey guys, no real question, just wanted to donate. Have a nice day. Oh,
That's nice.
well, thanks, Lucas. Really much appreciated. Alright, CRAIO TWITCHELL. What if Goku wished for Shenron to be a fighter in the Tournament of Power? Oh, jeez. Having Shenron, who could take up the majority of the stadium? Like, but the thing is, though, how powerful is he? Like, he can't be much more powerful than a Namekian. It would depend on whether he could use different assets of his magic. Or, like, if they basically had that wish in reserve, like, I wish for you to, like, throw all the people out of the ring. It is done. Like that. Like, he'd be way too powerful in that sense, because you can imagine him just basically, you know, Goku going, or one of them just going like, Goku said, now, Shenron we have a wish on Shenron. Do not use it for anything, and like Gohan or like, yeah, or somebody like that, or Krillin goes, I wish for everyone to be removed on the ring except me. It is done. Wait, what? Woo! Krillin wins. Like that way I don't have to battle anyone. And then like Android 18 goes like, you included me in being thrown out? Oh, sorry, honey. I got a little bit carried away. That kind of, it'd be played for laughs, certainly. Heartless Fang, after watching your most recent podcast, up on the lookout, oh, by the way, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and whatnot, how would you introduce Gohan Blanco into canon outside the Tournament of Power? I suppose really it would be like a case of like some kind of thematic universe, like a parallel multiverse where basically Gohan got Ultra Instinct in that kind of sense. So it'd be a multiverse in that kind of sense, like of what if Gohan became Ultra Instinct, which may or may not happen in my future Gohan What If. Just saying, in the future, just saying. Paul Dunbar, what if Goku married Bulma in that one? When will you cover future Gohan story? Does present Gohan marry Irasa? Does Vegeta marry Tights? And will there be merch? Goku married Bulma, hard to say. So, Future Gohan story? Probably not. Present Gohan marrying Arasa? Too early to say. Did Vegeta marry Tights? Don't really know yet. Maybe. Will there be merch? Really depends on when there's actually something to make into merch, like a logo or anything like that. It really depends. And besides, I don't go into making a what if to actually making merch. It only is something if I want to pay tribute to that at the end of a story, or if it's just something that really becomes people love. So I don't go into there, I make a what if. What is a way to make merch out of it? Like, it all depends on where it goes, really. I find that's actually the most fortuitous thing. Like, that's the best type of merch. Things just come out of nowhere. That's the best thing. And by the way, Mark, incidentally, I actually bought your shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got it. So
That's
I've just
very
been,
nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I've been wearing it, like, while it's been quite, recently when it's been quite warm. So it's actually really cool.
Oh, that's cool. What color did you get?
I got the black one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
That's very
yeah,
nice.
I definitely was sure to grab it when I could.
Oh, thank you. That really means a lot.
No worries, dude. Wanted to help. Alright, Craig Twitchell. What if Dr. Giro made an android based on his wife? Well, that was Android 21. Boom. So, basically, could be just like kind of like derivation type thing. So basically, I would imagine that would be kind of like one of those things. So I'd basically just be Android 21. So there you go. Basically, Red Dragon Force 2. Who has better time powers, Goldo or Hit? I'll definitely Hit. Well, actually, no, you say that, actually. I think Goldo's powers are actually... So long as he can actually learn how to hold his breath, then he's basically got, like, yeah, he's got him over Hit, basically. It just depends on whether... How Goldo would actually be able to use it, in that kind of sense. Okay. Leo Star, what if Good Napper and Good Raditz from the What Ifs made the Raditz from your Dragon Ball R&R series? Well, basically, it's like what we said before. They'd have that same affinity that they both don't like Vegeta. That's pretty much what it would be. Craig Twitchell, what if Bulma had the mask from the mask and put it on? Well, she would certainly become more aggressive, more assertive. Basically be using her powers for chaos and her, basically making inventions that are totally mad, but also make sense bizarrely at the same time. So, yeah. So basically, yeah. Mark, we're gonna try and wrap things up as much as possible because Mark has got to get back to work because you have really been going at it for a very long time, Mark. Sometimes these go on for 3 hours, but we are almost on the home straight. But we'll try and keep going as much as we can. But if you need to jump out, do jump out if you need to.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, but basically we'll try and get through this as much as we can. Patrick, what if Cell was not built to absorb 1718, but instead to evolve just through fighting and training like Saiyans and Frieza? Well, it would certainly basically be, it would certainly have that way of, like, an interesting way of, like, talking about cells and evolution. It would certainly be more grounded in biology. But it would certainly be, like, it kind of takes away that peril and that kind of, like, bizarre thing of absorbing other fighters. It would take away that facet in a way. So, honestly, if it was that way, it would look cool, but in a way, it was like, it wouldn't, having 1718 being absorbed was a major dramatic twist. So, it would take away two of the biggest ones from there. PADPARADSCHA, Digimon Savers had the Protag Punch Digimon. Oh, yes, of course. Oh, yeah, Digimon Savers had that. Just the Digimon that hit really, really hard. As well as the Data Squad. The clip I've seen is just like this powered up Leomon who just Roar! Falco Leomon burst mode engaging. Just like that. I feel so sorry for the guy who had to voice Falco Leomon. Just going burst mode engaging, just like almost exploding. It's crazy. If anyone remembers that from Bunko Leomon. Sorry, it's. Again, 360p YouTube, but burst mode engaging. Best thing said in a dub. and then his attack name was Burning Punch. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's almost as disappointing as saying, "Give him a Thunderbolt." Yeah, from the Raichu.
Oh, that's a good episode.
Give him a Thunderbolt.
No, he's like, give him another body slam. That was what it was.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that episode.
And then of course the old Electabuzz. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a good sound.
Yeah. Red Runner. What if Bulma offered to make some of the humans androids after Cell? I feel like Yamcha and Krillin would take it up on to keep up with the Saiyans. Yamcha definitely would. Yamcha would certainly do. Krillin, he'd probably bit a fence on it. He'd probably talk to Goku about it, and Goku would just say, you know what? Just, like, do what you gotta do. So long as I can have a good fight with you, that's the main thing. CRAIO Twitchell, what if Goten wished for a pet Ugandan Knuckles? Well, you know, he would have to be careful to make sure that Ugandan Knuckles didn't spit on him. All that kind of stuff. And then Chi-Chi would be their queen. So there
Jesus.
you go. Yeah. Gobi. Could I get s'more Scouse Rosé, please? I need my fix. Okay, context mark. Basically, I still think the whole fact that Rosé Goku Black have bring a British accent is weird. So you just need to make it something that's a little bit more intense in a way. So I just go, hey, I'm Super Saiyan Rosé Goku Black, I'll fucking deck you. So if you come anywhere near me, I'm just gonna lamp you one. And I just feel like, oh my god.
I'm so bad at accents.
No, yeah. I one of these days I'm gonna end up doing it in front of Trev, and he's just gonna
I mean, like, from my perspective, as someone who doesn't live in the north of England, I live in Ireland. It sounds fine. It sounds on point. You sound a lot like Trev.
Oh no, I know. I said like he would probably find it funny, but he'd say, "Mate, that's nothing like a Scouse accent." But it's just like, if for the purposes of an American audience, they go, "Hey, I'm Super Saiyan Rosé Bloody Goku Black." You know, and like Zamasu's getting angry. Hey, all right, Zamasu, calm down, calm down.
Oh my god. Can you do an Irish accent?
Sort of.
I could feel you bracing yourself.
Well, essentially, sort of. It's just something a little bit of a way. Sometimes I kind of get with it, and sometimes I can't. But yeah,
it's not terrible. It's actually okay.
It's okay. It depends. If I have a bit of time to like get into character and stuff like that. But if give me a few days in Galway, much better.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds a lot like a Galway. Like, usually when people try an Irish accent, they usually go for the Dublin accent. But you went for like somewhere to the west of Ireland, which is kind of interesting.
Certainly. Yeah, give me a few days in Galway, much better because again, yeah, and I because you hear and like. There's this like voiceover in Galway that you hear in everything, like on like their radio stuff. You know, you say going on there to gobus.ie. It's just like that voice is everywhere. Like all the announcements, it's just that deep Irish accent, strong Western Irish accent. It's just like love it, great. Yeah, I love the Irish accent. It's always like, and especially Northern accents. You know, anyone from Manchester saying it's like, oh, you alright, duck. Yeah, just like everyone in the north of England is really nice, really nice.
I've never been there. I've only been to Scotland once. I went to Edinburgh. I've been to England only once, and that was when I went to SAOCON.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully you get to actually come over sometime. You should come visit.
Yeah, I'd love to.
No, absolutely. All right. Jacked out. What if future Zamasu has a price for his immortality? His heal costs memory. Ooh, I like that. When Goku first escapes back to the past, future Zamasu hung onto the machine, but was flung off during travel. Few Zamasu now in the past with no memories. Well, basically, it'd probably be a way to start anew. Having that strong sense of justice, maybe. It then gets misconstrued into actually fighting for justice, actually becoming a good guy, using that power for good, in a way being quite benevolent. The only thing connecting him would be like, you know, that strong sense of justice. It would then turn him into a lawful good character, or at least lawful neutral. So it'd be an interesting twist. Actually be using for good. Arkamuryu, what if Goku was the Avatar? He basically kind of is the Avatar, and basically he is the one Saiyan that is basically proving all the other Saiyans different. It'd just be kind of a way to basically just having a blue arrow on his head, and then basically having the power of airbending, which technically is what, you know, Ki is, essentially. During the Grey, what if there was marriage between one of Goku's sons with Vegeta's daughter? Oh, basically, Goten and Bulla. There'd still be a bit of an age gap, but still a little bit, like, maybe? But it would bond them in a way. Like, I imagine, like, Vegeta would probably say no, but it'd probably be the way of, like, them combining forces and stuff. You know, Goten and, you know, Bulma and Goku being in-laws in a way, which would be kind of weird. Yeah. CRAIO Twitchell, what if Perfect Cell fused with Dr. Gero? Okay, so you basically like have 17 and Hellfire 17, so you get like super Dr. Cell. So instead of Mr. Perfect Cell, it's Dr. Perfect Cell.
Super Dr. Cell sounds so funny.
It's Perfect Cell with a doctorate. It's basically even more of an impression.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Robot to you. It just sounds so stupid.
Yeah. Although, you know, Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. Don't you think that name is beautiful? I'm sorry. As much as I will rag on Schemmel for that, I will rag on him for that. I'm usually not like that, but to be honest, I'm sorry. I'm British. I can get away with it. I am playing the British card. So there you go. I can say that.
The British card.
I'm playing the British card. I don't often get to say. Don't often get to use it. But vocally, I can. Okay. Gobi, would Gohan maybe marry Irasa or someone else if Videl had been a dude rad romantic interest? Maybe, if Videl and Gohan's relationship was more platonic, which in a way would actually be kind of cool, in some way. We wouldn't have gotten Pan as we know them. But in the same way, it'd be nice like in Pacific Rim. Those two characters, they actually, for the first, as in Honest Trailer saying, for the first time in any kind of movie, will they or won't they situation, they won't. As in, like, cool, it's a man and a woman not having to get together. So, that would have actually been sort of refreshing. A shame, but refreshing. And Irasa is good for Gohan in a way. Steve Des, not really what if question, but does R&R launch know any techniques, key-based or otherwise? If not, what hardware has she added to her collection? I'm pretty sure she's got some few more weapons in reserve, and I'm pretty sure that Raditz has probably taught her some kind of technique. You know, for extracurricular nighttime activities? Just saying.
Saucy.
And like from my Kemper Bridge, oh my god, are they talking about sex? Just like, yeah, let's just say that. Let's just say that. Moving on. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Kid Videl searched for the Z Fighters post-Cell to learn more about them, become stronger? Gohan Videl's friendship earlier and maybe Chi-Chi supports them? It's sort of, I sort of touch upon that in my What If Gohan Was Earth's Hero. Like, Videl tries to find out who Gohan was. So, I'd certainly found that kind of interesting. So maybe sort of derived from that, Red Dragon. Arkimaru, what if every enemy the Z Fighters defeated were automatically reincarnated like Frieza, Cell, 21 and others? Well, you would have someone called 12, you'd have someone called Lek, you'd have Azir, stuff like that. You'd have certain traits of their personalities, like 21 or 12 would have a strong passion for candy. Lek would basically be this perfectionist of sorts, who's very, very tall and wears very large hats. And Azir would basically be the daughter of Vegeta, who looks eerily like Frieza but with pigtails. Some sort of characteristics that allude to
have hair.
Yeah, of course have hair. Not just not pigtails made out of skin, Mark. Jeez.
Well, like when you said Frieza but with pigtails, I just immediately picture Frieza with pigtails. So I don't know this. It's a human, is it?
Yeah. Yes, of course. Well, half Saiyan and stuff.
Okay.
All right, Grant Emil. What if Piccolo Jr. won the fight at the end of Dragon Ball? Well, if he did, then pretty much not really much would have happened. That fight would have still won the same, but basically they'll say, "Oh, Goku lost due technicality," and then Piccolo would just be like, you know, I don't care about this thing, to hell with you all, and stuff like that, and Goku would win by default. But basically, if he won the fight, then I imagine probably he wouldn't care at the time, but then eventually he's like, well, remember, Goku, I actually won that tournament. Well, you kind of forfeited it. Yeah, I know, but I still won. I still won on the day. That kind of stuff. Maybe a nice little bit of banter in a way.
Bless you.
Yeah, so yeah. Alright, Column. What if key manipulation and martial arts weren't uncommon? Also, basically, like it was in time of Dragon Ball Online, like when Gohan comes up with the book of key control, it would be commoditized, for one. You'd have like loads of dojos claiming about key control. You'd have the black market about key control, like certain pills that could increase your key affinity. Oh, certainly, it'd be commoditized, absolutely. You'd have this market, it'd be a multi-billion pound market that would end up, there would be it becoming a task on The Apprentice. You basically good morning everyone, I'm basically Alan Sugar, and your task for today is basically to commoditize the art of Gohan's thing to put about bloody key control. I want to see no bloody nonsense with your marketing, no rubbish, or else one of you will be fired. So, yeah, that kind of stuff. It would be some way, it would end up on The Apprentice. PADPARADSCHA, Hercule. I didn't know Mark was here when I asked. Also talking about Hercule, about risk thing. Okay, fair enough, PADPARADSCHA. Dr. Discord, what about if Good Boo beat and absorbed Evil Boo? Well, if he did beat Evil Boo, then basically he would have probably been able to keep more of a control on him, like kind of refreshing that seal. So basically, Good Boo would have probably just destroyed Barbary, and then everything would have gone back to normal. Like, he would have tried to find some way to heal B, and things might have calmed down. But then there'd be kind of like this way of like, just to kind of like keep him under control. They'd have to find some kind of technique to be able to lock away Evil Boo forever. But basically, it would buy them some time. Jack Doubt says Legends of Dragoon in context to a previous super chat, and Jack Doubt, behold my super perfect form. Like, I'm almost perfect. Oh, really? That sounds a bit of a letdown. No, I'm almost perfect. I'm more perfect than you. Oh, really? Well, you're either perfect or you're not me. That's the kind of stuff. Yash, nice. Yash, thank you very much for your super chat, by the way. Driver's line. What if Trunks and Goten got sent to a universe that was based off Dragon Quest? Well,
I actually never played that game.
Neither. I have really not played much of Dragon Quest, but if they were, well, Trunks would be there because he would have affinity with swords. He'd be a swordsman. Goten, AoE specialist, I would say. So, mage powers, Trunks, warrior. Auto joining. What if Gohan trained like Goku? Probably understands how his dad operates in a way. Probably would actually be quite exhausted. Certainly would not really be. It would certainly hinder his studies. That's for sure. Evan is Majovic. What if Goku turned into the legendary Super Saiyan, basically like Broly or Kale, at the end of the Namek saga? Well, it wouldn't have ended well for people, basically, because Goku would have been totally out of control. He would have disappeared. There would have been no clue about where he would have gone. And also, King Kai would have been very apprehensive of actually reintroducing him back to Earth. Because
would he have disappeared? I mean, if he, okay. He would probably, I think, have died on Namek. Because the only reason he escaped Namek was because he had his wits about him and he got one of the Ginyu Force's ships.
Okay.
So, he would have been wished back. And he probably would have been calm then, so no one would know until later, probably.
Yeah, they'd have to... Okay, now that you put it that way, it would probably just be that kind of way that he would have to find out later about what he did and try and find some way to control it. So, in retrospect, no, that's fair enough.
That's interesting. Anyway, I have to call it a day here.
It's okay, man. Don't worry.
I had so much One Piece to read. It's actually criminal.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, no, Mark, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to wrap things up. We've only got a couple left anyway, but basically... Thank you so much for joining us, and sorry if this took up a lot of your time.
Not at all. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to being on again.
Well, we'll definitely bring you on with Haverock and Sophie as well, so you don't have to be grilled too much. But yeah.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Joining us.
See you guys.
Have a good night. Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being patient, and basically we'll just wrap up the last couple of ones. There's only like sending like thanks to Mark. We really thank Mark for joining, and basically, let's just wrap this thing up. Marzanite, what if Goten never existed? Gohanks? Basically, if Goten never existed, you might have had Gohan and Trunks fusing in some way, or basically, you might have had to have some way of being able to do that, but in a way, it really depends on whether actually... The thing was that they had that arbitrary thing about height and stuff like that, so maybe you would have had to have Gohan and Piccolo fuse. So you'd have had Gohakalo or Pikahan or something, or Pycon to be quite meta. So you might have had that. Nick was saying, sorry, didn't mean to overstep with the editor question. Just curious about the ins and outs of producing good weekly content on YT. Yeah, no, that's all right, Nick. Don't worry about it. But usually I make sure to pay Sophie for her regular hosting, Haverock for his researching skills and stuff like that, as well as helping out with various projects. Basically just making sure the people I work with, I pay them fairly, and I pay everyone equally. Like, you know, as in like people who do their all stuff, you know, I make sure everyone is paid what they do. And Mantoku, what if Goku or Vegeta wish for planet Vegeta and all the Saiyans to be restored? I think Vegeta probably wouldn't really care that much about going bonding with them. He probably was just thinking, there's your planet back. Now, actually make yourself less of a disappointment. Like, just start anew. Vegeta probably wouldn't care what they do, just as long as they didn't cause trouble for them. And Goku, maybe he would want to meet his parents, but maybe not overly keen on it, but essentially just wanting to, like, just glad to know that they're safe. That kind of stuff. Yeah, nice little bit of empathy there. Anyway, right. That is the last of all of these super chats. Man, you guys have been really busy. Thank you so much for all of your contributions, everyone. It really does help support the channel in this uncertain time because things have been down, but thanks to you guys and your continued support, it means that I can keep going being a total Dragon Ball nerd. So, if you did enjoy this, discussion, please do let me know in the comments, and do listen to Up on the Lookout. You can go to link, you can check out Up on the Lookout, you can search on Spotify for it, you can look on Apple Podcasts for that kind of stuff, for more information. And tomorrow, I'm going to be doing an interview with Vegito EX from Kanzenshu. So Haverock and I will be grilling him, and look forward to that coming out on Tuesday. So you'll be getting that next episode of the podcast on Tuesday. So until next time, everybody, I hope you're all doing really well, and take care. And the next What If video will be What If Krillin Was a Saiyan Part 5. So take care, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of your night, and stay safe, everybody. Bye!